In the shadow of the night, Ankh on the creep, raising up the titans, watch the fallen gods weep. From Baltimore streets to the Florida shores, Jehovah, hold and feel the wrath as it roars. No more rules, it's time to break. Killer army rise and make no mistake. All gods must die, hear the echoes cry. From the heavens to the ground, see them fall and die. All gods must die, no more alibis. Odin, Buddha, Allah, they all say goodbye. Zeus, on the throne, but he's losing his life. He's ready for the fight. Open your best run, we here for debate. All the deities trembling, feeling the weight. Step aside, make way for the real. All gods must die. It's a done deal. It's a done deal. Hey. All gods must die. Hear the echoes cry. From the heavens to the ground, see them fall and die. All gods must die, no more alibis. All gods must die, no more alibi. They all say goodbye. All could have gone killer, now time to fly. The world's ours now, hear the last goodbye.
Black African power. What's good? What's happening? A well-organized lie. Defeats a disorganized truth. Every time. Woo-hoo-wee. Man, y'all already know what it is, man. It's God killing the house. And I come to do what I got to do, and I'm going to do what I got to do. Standing tall, standing strong. Hey, y'all know what it is, man? Bobby banging this bitch. What's good, family? Look, man, I've been wanting to do this for a while, man, and put this debate out. And I think it's time to really put it out because got a lot of African Americans talking that talk. Got a group of them calling themselves the FBA, right? And they for the most part, a lot of them, not gonna say all of them, but they're anti-scientific. And then they wonder, well, who the hell am I? Because they're not used to the space, they're not used to the God killer, and you know how I do what I do. And so they looking at me like I'm just somebody out of no damn where. That's not actually true. I've been fighting on behalf for African Americans, no matter what they call themselves, right? So I want to do this, show this debate thing, let you know I was ahead of the curve. Okay? And it's important. It's important to know that you got people fighting for you even when you don't give a damn about them and you think they crazy. All right? So, you know, we fight because we understand that science is hard. And giving the power away to somebody else is more qualified is hard. And we get that. So, you know, I want to kind of tone it down just a little bit for my audience. Just, you know what I'm saying? Because I realize that a lot of people, this is white people, green people, purple people, black people, orange people, right? They're ignorant when it comes to science. See, it's not just an African American thing at all. It's an American thing. Remember, America leads the way in science, but they also lead the way in being anti-scientific. And you say, well, how the hell is that? That's what it is. Anti-science, anti-vaccine, because that's being anti-science. No matter what they say. They don't trust in the expertise. They don't trust in the experts. They don't trust in science. They just don't. And so I think it's a good time to let y'all know that I've been doing this thing for a minute, man. And I fought at the highest levels. The highest levels, man, to get this thing right. And people don't know that. And, you know, in them early days of trying to get the vaccines together, I ain't nobody to teach me, man. You know, I had to go to the real sources, get the textbooks, and get a general understanding of it, right? And, you know, this guy came up against, he was clearly polished, man, in the anti-vaccine rhetoric. Clearly polished, man. And, you know, I had to do what I had to do. And big up to Dr. Oyamayat, because she put together a large portion of those slides. See, y'all think it's some kind of shame in a person helping you out with the work. It's craziness to me. But, you know, Dr. Mayat was unable to make it, right? But she sent them damn slides, man. And so let me show y'all something, man. And then big up to everybody in the chat, man, when y'all getting here, man. Gary Hart, I see you. All right. Yeah, I know you won't. I know y'all won't. I know you won't. G19, I know you won't. I get it. I ain't tripping. Cred 8, I can't even read. Mindset. I see you, Master Khaled. Big up to you, man. Yeah. I'm glad y'all finally got a chance to see that debate. I'm gonna post that tomorrow. Right? Go over there and vote too, man. If you don't like me, just vote anyway. Just say you don't like me, right? But that was a great conversation. And yeah, God is your vaccine. Yeah, you in trouble. You like that Christian that was drowning in the ocean. And they was praying for God to come save them. A boat came by, a small boat came by. And the Christian said, people in the boat say, man, come on, jump in. And the Christian said, man, I'm waiting on God. So the boat drive off. Another larger boat comes through. Want to throw the raft out there. Life preserver out there. He's like, no. I'm waiting on God. Then a big ocean liner came through. Stop for the person in the water. They was definitely about to drown. Get on the daggone, get on the boat. No, I'm waiting on God. The ocean liner left. And so the person was like, God, why didn't you help me? Why didn't you save me as they was drowning? God said, God damn it, I sent the small boat, you wouldn't take it. I sent the middle-sized boat, you wouldn't take it. Sent the big-ass ocean liner, and you wouldn't get on it. So although you may not be a Christian, the point I want to make is this, yo. If you do believe in God, then you would believe that God would give you the insight to learn how to do science. Would at least give humanity that. If you believe that, you wouldn't go against that now, would you? Now, as for me, I believe none of that nonsense. I think it's a crock of nonsense. And I think it's a Homo sapien believing brain that fuels our beliefs. Now, as a universal God, you're still a Christian. That's the thing that get me out of this whole thing. People, this new wave of consciousness, they try to break away from religion, but they drag religion behind them. Man. But let me show y'all this, man. Been working for a while, man. And let me show y'all this. All right, for y'all who just don't know. Man, let the people come in the building, man. For this ain't enough people for me to get started yet. Let me send it. I see you, Real Talk. What's going on? Big up. Let me post this. Post a link so we can get some people through here, man. Get the building going a little bit, man. We want to do that. Ain't enough people to get the conversation started, man. Man, go ahead, send out them links, man. You know, we live. The Great Harlem debate. Definitely live, man. I know a lot of y'all haven't seen it. The audience was piled up with anti-vax Europeans, because it was 99% Europeans, and wild vendors that was black, all going against us. Now, Brother Assad participated in it, Brother Garfield participated in it. I'm biased. He calls himself the greatest researcher now. He didn't lost his mind, but he was definitely there. Pulling up some data. He was shaking in his boots, though. Scared to death. Look out there in that crowd, yo, it was packed. It was a hungry crowd. They was all anti-vax. That's why the whole conversation was wild, because each round they want to pick who the winner was. The whole crowd is anti-vax. The moderator was anti-vax. The person who put the event on was anti-vax. Curtis Cars. Sarnetta, we don't know where the hell he in between somewhere, right? But he was thinking he wanted to be anti-vax till lately. Got smart. The whole thing was against. It was set up. It was all against us. Whole thing was. But sometimes you need an environment like that because it forge and make you who you are. Because that was definitely a ruckus crowd. For sure. Let me drop these links in here, man. Where y'all at, man? Get y'all in the building, man, and make it make sense. It was a good one. Definitely was a good one. Big up to Asar in the building. Dennis, Dr. Winkler. Big up to you, man. Big up. Big up. Got 40, waiting on a couple more people to get in here and get this rolling. Get it rolling a little bit, man. So how y'all doing today, man? We just want to make sure we keep everything propping above board, man. I'm working on, keeping the polish, shine the polish a little bit. Make sure the polish side come out. You know what I'm saying? Make sure we keep it polished, because it's easy to cut you out, but then that make you run. Y'all be running when I do that. Look at him, he the loudmouth guy. He this, he that. And I'm actually not a loudmouth guy, yo. Sometimes you get tired of dealing with the flim-flammers because they every move is to flim-flam you, to trick you, and to deceive you, man. That's what it is. So let me share my screen, man. Get the thing started, right? I'm going to show you who I was up against. All right? Okay. On the screen, y'all clearly see Del Bigtree. If y'all don't know who Del Bigtree is, let me formally introduce you to Del Bigtree. Del Bigtree is an American television film producer who is the CEO of the anti-vaccine group Informed Consent Action Network. I know some of y'all over there taking in that wild information. He produced a film called Vax, the cover up to catastrophe. Crazy. Y'all is mine. It's based on the discredited opinion of Andrew Wakefield, right? And alleges an unsubstantiated connection between vaccines and autism. He served as communication director for Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s 2024 presidential campaign, and subsequently took a leading role in the groups associated with Kennedy's political career. So Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was supposed to show better debate. He didn't make it. but that's his right-hand man right there. His frequent public speaking engagements and an influx in founding in 2017 have made Bigtree, who has no medical training, one of the most prominent voices in the anti-vaccine movement. Okay? That's who I'm going up against. It say during the COVID-19 pandemic, Bigtree propagated conspiracy theories about the origin of the virus and COVID-19 vaccines and urged his audience to ignore the advice of health authorities. There you go. Read that again for you. His frequent public speaking engagements and an influx in funding in 2017 have made Bigtree, who has no medical training, one of the most prominent voices in the anti-vaccination movement. Let's look at this group. The Informed Consent Action Network is one of the main anti-vaccination group in the damn United States. So I was up against that money. Founded in 2016 by Del Bigtree, it spreads misinformation about the risks of vaccines and contributes to vaccine hesitancy. Look, which has been identified by the World Health Organization as one of the top 10 global health threats in 2019. Arguments against vaccinations are contradicted by overwhelming scientific consensus about safety and effectiveness of vaccines. Up against the money, man. Up against the money, man. Up against the money, man. Yeah, we ain't getting that kind of money, bro. And y'all see that falls in the category of alternative medicine. A lot of y'all into that. Alternative diagnosis, traditional medicine. Come on, man. Fringe medicine and science. All that is in the series of alternative medicine. Yeah. So I'm just trying to tell you, man. Y'all might think I'm the bad guy, but actually I'm the good guy, man. All this stuff right here is all wild stuff. Alkaline diet, that's your man. That's your man with the alkaline diet. Fake COVID treatments. Nation of Islam had that. Remember they had the fake beans, eat the beans, Navy beans, wild. Oh man. Cancer treatments. A lot of y'all get caught up in that. Just goes on. Detoxing, fake detox, foot detox, detoxification, foolery. Rid the body of toxins. Okay, come on, man. Look, a type of alternative medicine treatment which aims to rid the body of unspecified toxins, substances. Yeah, y'all go for all that. And you know why you go for all that? Go for all that, man, because you're not scientifically literate. And that's okay. We're here to make sure y'all get it right. But this is what I was up against. So let me move a little bit here. Right? They even had campaigns, media campaigns, right? Interview with Del Bigtree, the great Harlem vaccine debate. The tickets right there. It was in December 2019. When did the virus hit New York? Late December, remember? That's why they call it novel SARS-CoV-2. COVID-19. Curtis Cars Great Harlem debate. Let's click that on. Even got my damn name wrong. They call me Ankh Hotep. Assault Hotep Ankh. Wow, they just wild out, yo. Disrespectful. So black people ain't the first people to disrespect. It was these right here. These Europeans. Disrespect. All right, you see Dr. Mayat name on there. I don't know how she got over here with Bigtree and them. Put on the wrong side. I guess he put all that. Look, James Weiler. Dr. Mayat. There you go. James Small was there. He was definitely on the white people's side. Just for the record, he was. I believe y'all gonna see that in here. The Great Harlem Vaccine Debate. There you go. Moderated by Curtis Cause, author of Vaccines Are Dangerous. How the hell can an anti-vaxxer moderate any damn thing? But I'm doing this for the history so the history don't disappear. All right? Never want the history to disappear. But this was wild, man. Yeah, and in this daggone blog, they was talking reckless too. Let me see. Read part 1 of my reporting here. They was talking reckless. They called me a big mouth. Let me see. Oh, the great part 1. And of course, they said we lost. Funny. How the hell we lose? Yeah. That's why we back to work now. But I wanted to kind of put that there for y'all so y'all could see just what the hell that I've been up against, man. And I ain't playing, right? I'm right here, right? Yeah, I was up against the professional pseudos. See, I fight professional pseudos. So, you know, that conversation with the African Americans, quote unquote, FBA, that's an easy work for me. I just be having to find a way not to just wild out on them. So that's what I've been going against, man. And I'm doing it for the love of my community, man. You know, I'm an advocate of science. So people can't flim-flam, y'all. That's why that debate with Inky and Charles Darwin and evolution and pangenesis is so important, man. So if y'all watch it, vote on it, I'm gonna play it tomorrow, man. All that stuff I do because I love my people. And the charlatans amongst you will always say this, man, we need to know our history. That's gonna help us as a people because they think that's the main thing, you knowing your history. So if that's the main thing and people claim they know they claim they care about their people, then why wouldn't you use the proper tools to get your history? You don't get your history off the corner or off random YouTube channels. You know, you gotta you gotta look through the lens of anthropology. Oh, what about scientific racism? What about scientific racism? That was a time in history. Now, if I'm saying that there's still not racism, I'm sure it is. You know, racism is systemic. So I'm sure. But the only way to tease it out is through science and science literacy, man. That's the only way to get you your history. Because if not, you're going to be in this wild FBA movement where they wows out with pseudoscientific ideas. The whole thing sits on a house of cards, straws. And you can come by and huff and puff and blow it down. So now we got that out the way. Man. Let's get you what y'all really came here to see, man. Let me get y'all what y'all really came to see. I changed the date on that. What's the date on that? Date was definitely wrong. Let me change the date on that, man. Let me get that right. Why is the date so important? The date is so important because as we was having a conversation, man, the novel SARS-CoV-2 was in the damn building. And I made a statement in this debate. The statement was, it's not a matter of if. It's not a matter of if. So it's not a matter of if. Hold on. It's not a matter of if. Hold on, let me get here. It's not a matter of if a pandemic will come through. It's a matter of when. Little did I know at the time, that was a very, very profound statement. Very profound. Didn't know it at the time, but I understood. I followed the vaccine at the time, and you know, it was clear, man, that pathogens, right? And then, you know, those pandemics seem to occur every 100 years or so. So they was on that. All right. So here we go, man. Let's go ahead and get into this, man. And before I get into this, man, I want to fast forward to, I can't hold back on this one. You got Divine Suspect, and I call him Divine Suspect because he claims to care about the community and black people. This man stood on the other side. Bro. Let me see. Here you go. He stood on the other side. See that? That's him. That's certainly him. Divine Suspect right there in the corner. Let's see.
Here we go. Let's go to some work, man. I know a lot of people smoke in.
Yeah, that's right, and that right should be the end of the official. Please applaud. And conversely, if you believe that parents should have the right to make informed decisions.
And he over there smiling. It was a full house. Y'all see that crowd right there, right? The full crowd. They ain't even got all the people in there. They ain't even showing everybody. Bro.
This is a real quick bonus, y'all. I would like to introduce to you Brother Divine Prospect. Come on hand, y'all. Look at them, emotional. Look at that. They're emotional already. I ain't said a word yet. Here we go. Let's go to some work, man. I know a lot of people smoke in, giving our perspective and everything. So let's get into a couple of studies, right? And I'm gonna do this real quick because I know everybody want to break, everybody hungry, everybody want to eat, right? A couple of things that they propose. The first thing they say is, do you trust your doctors to take your blood? Are they aware that there's independent labs that do blood work? Just had it done about 3 weeks ago. Had nothing to do with the pharmaceutical companies or anything like that. It exists. You can go and check it for yourselves. That's number one. Number two, the question was, is there any viable option or alternative to vaccinations? The one thing that I said when I was talking to my brother Garfield and my brother Ankh, sitting down one-on-one, I said there could be alternatives to adjuvants other than the aluminum salts and the thermosol that is there in vaccination. Let me give you some. Are you ready? Hold on. Are you there? Y'all not even paying attention. You see this? Emotional. Look at them. Look at that. I'm pseudo, but I'm about to pull up the reports. And I'm pseudo. All right. So, hello. There's a couple of studies. Are you looking over here? Look at them. Look at them. Look, talking all this. You're not paying attention. You don't want this work. Hey, it's for you. Hurry up. Pay attention. It's people's time. Are you aware that red marine algae has been used as an anti-HPV? Are you aware of that? You see the capsid? Hold on, because there's two different types of viruses. There's the ones that are enveloped and the ones that's unenveloped. Are you familiar with that? And it's advocacy against the unenveloped antibody viruses. Are you familiar with that? Yes or no? If not, you're ready to study, or I can do it after the break. No? All right, let's keep going. Now, are you familiar with SAGE, right? Because you know people say Berta SAGE is all pseudo and stuff like that. Did you know there was Greek reports that show that it has antibacterial activities?
Man, this man came over here with some red algae and some damn sage. He was definitely a pre-pandemic fool. And he never apologized to the community. He never did. This man said red algae trying to replace adjuvants. You know what that do? The adjuvants, right, knock down a lot of the germs and bacterias. He trying to kill people with that nonsense. Then he mentioned sage. You know the shit they light up, the sage. Come on, man. Let me run that back, man. He's definitely on the wrong side of history, bro. And you wonder why. Yeah, yo, they scam like that, yo. They really do. That's why I was ignoring them. I mean, this is that flim-flammery. Complete flim-flammery. That's how they do it, though, yo. That new wave of consciousness, the new, all of a sudden, we the Hebrews, the whooped, all that.
You don't want this word. Hey, it's for you. Hurry up. Pay attention. It's people's time. Are you aware that red marine algae has been used as an anti-HPV? Are you aware of that? You see, hold on, because there's two different types of viruses. There's the ones that are enveloped and the ones that's unenveloped. Are you familiar with that? And it's advocacy against the unenveloped antibody viruses. Are you familiar with that? Yes or no? If not, then you're ready to study, or I can do it after the break. No? All right, let's keep going. Now, are you familiar with sage, right? Because, you know, people say bird sage is all pseudo and stuff like that. Did you know there's Greek reports that show that it has antibacterial activities and it actually kills bacteria in the air? Yes? No? Don't know about that? I have these sources here. Okay, let's keep going. Are you looking over here? Look at them. Still motion. All right, now, wait a minute. Hey, reishi mushrooms. Are you looking over here? It's an adjuvant. It's been used as an adjuvant to boost the immune system in cancer patients. Are you paying attention? Would you like me to keep going? Thank you. Right here. He's trying. Hey, thank you, sister. I appreciate this. Right? I'm gonna stop here because he ain't even paying attention. Let's give it up for divine prospect.
Yeah, let's give it up for divine suspect, yo. This man said mushrooms, red algae, and some damn sage. Now, shorty that came and wiped me off was fine. So I ain't mind her. She was that. But divine, yo, this is what this man was offering, yo. Was some red algae, some damn mushrooms, and some burning sage. Man, come on, yo. We gotta do better than this, yo. That's what I'm saying, bro. He was like my man said in the chat, the pre-pandemic fool. Oh man. All right, man, let's get this in.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the first
Here we go.
Harlem vaccine.
Ray Harlem. Vaccine.
I've been waiting over 20 years for this to happen. The first time was I was in Houston, Texas. I was invited down with Barbara Fisher and many others back in 1995. And we were there to challenge the vaccine issue. And the other side was a team of doctors and scientists. We showed up, but they didn't. That's been the pattern. But today we have a real debate. So it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it as much as the rest of you, I'm sure, are. Today is going to be exciting. It's going to be informative. I know the fireworks are going to fly because I know the people on both sides are very, very passionate. I guess my real role here is to not let things get too far out of hand. So, but it's going to get hot. So I let you know well in advance. I would encourage people to focus on the facts. Today is not a day about focusing on race. It's not about focusing on the home team. It's about focusing on the facts and keeping an open mind. Because this is a very serious issue. It's an issue that's raging across the country, especially as they are changing the laws with regard to religious exemptions and other forms of exemptions. So it's a serious issue. I just actually keep an open mind, and we're going to have a very good debate. So keep with that. No booing, please. And if you want to show your support, let the person speak first. Then you can show your support by applauding and cheering and things. But it's important that everybody get to hear what the speakers have to say. So with that said, I just want to also focus a little bit on how we're going to proceed from here, which is at the end of the debate, after the two teams speak, you're going to be able to vote on which team that you think did the best job. And so you have the opportunity to really show your feelings at that point. And I do want to thank, before we go on, a lot of the people who worked behind the scenes to make this happen. Danielle Gale, fed up Democrat, and many people who did radio interviews and things, but a lot of people really made this happen. So I just want a big shout out to those, and a special shout out to Antonia St. Demar for all of her logistics work. She really worked hard behind the scenes, and a tremendous help to making this happen. I also, last big shout out, personal shout out to a man who's been my mentor for many years, all the way back to when he was my junior high school teacher. He has helped me with getting into the ABC program, which helped me to get into a lot of really good schools, and he's been there for me through the ups and downs. He's also has worked in the Black Latino community. He's helped thousands of students. He's got lots of awards, and he's what a true teacher is all about. My 6th grade junior high school teacher, Bert Rosenberg. Mr. Rosenberg, where are you? Mr. Rosenberg. There he is. See it again. Mr. Rosenberg. Okay, well, I would like to now turn it over to my the iron fist behind this, because I know I'm a little bit soft when people are speaking and let them go a little bit too long, but she's going to be the enforcer to make sure everybody stays on track with regards to the debate. So I'm going to turn it back over for a moment to Antonia.
Thank you so much, Curtis. Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing tonight? Good. So it's so good to see each of your faces here tonight. This is quite possibly the most important debate and topic in the world right now, because without health, how can you actually go out there and change the world and make this world a better place? So to know that this dialogue is happening with questions like, is it safe? Is it worth the risk? It's so important, like Curtis said, because considering that New York just got mandates, New Jersey is voting on mandates starting on Monday, and other states having bills like this happening all across the country and the world. Plans for adult mandates coming next. We need to be asking these questions now. So no matter what you see or hear on the stage today, know that both sides have concern and want the best for themselves and their children. But what is the full truth, right? What is the full truth? It can really only be on one side or the other, the full truth. So in that spirit, we're going to hear what there is to say, and let's hear the science. Let's see how we can justify and clarify what's at stake. So like Curtis said, I'm going to be keeping time. And do you want to detail the rules, Curtis? Okay, thank you guys.
Quick outline of how the debate's going to be set up. There's going to be 4 questions that's going to be addressed, and I've already given the questions to both sides. They've been researching, preparing for it. The questions are: 1, are vaccines safe? 2, do vaccines effectively prevent disease? 3, is it possible to raise a healthy child without vaccines? 4, should the parents have the right to make informed and voluntary decisions about vaccines, or should that decision be left to government officials? Each question will have a half an hour for both sides to go back and forth. Each side will have 3-minute increments to make their case, and it's going to switch to the other side. The other part of the rules are the person who's speaking will have the option of just saying what they want to say, or they can ask a question of the other side, or if they want to just say something for like a minute and then turn it back to someone else on their team, they can do that. I will not be picking the people who will be speaking. It's up to each team to decide when it's their turn who they want to speak. So that way it'll be fair, I won't be biased towards who I'll be calling one. And to start things off, each side is going to have 6 minutes to give a short introduction to their position, and then move to the other side, and then the debate will actually begin. The people on the pro side, they've asked to go first, so you may be getting your 6-minute presentation. What? Oh, well, fine. You want your slides? Feel free.
Already got one. We got one operator in here on this side. We got to keep ourselves aware. How y'all doing, family? How the Houston family doing? Okay, look at that face.
You guys, while you're setting up, maybe you can all introduce yourselves while you go.
My name is Brother Ankh. I'm a community activist. self-taught, and I care for the family, not only the human family, but I care for the Black family that was caught up in the transcontinental kidnapping trade. So it's my job to make sure they get the right information, right? Make sure it's filtered properly so we can discern exactly what we need and what we don't need.
Hi, my name is Ava Van Amy. I'm a biomedical scientist. I'm not here presenting any organization, just myself. And I know this is a contentious debate, and I hope that at the end of you'll be able to leave with some knowledge and you will be better informed.
Peace and blessings. My name is Asar Hotep, and I am a computer scientist and just a science advocate in general. I'm here on the side of science and to defend science, to be the equalizer in this type of debate. And so I think that's it. So.
When we create such effective solutions, I gotta talk about put that on. Clock running. They got that clock running. Man, come on now. When we create such effective solutions, we can forget how serious the problems were. That's Dr. Joe. That's that smallpox right there. We don't feel that anymore. Smallpox is a serious and contagious infection disease caused by the Viola virus. The earliest credible evidence of smallpox is found in Egyptian mummies of people who died some 33,000 years ago. So this is in Africa, y'all. They didn't have a response for it. 3 out of every 10 people with the disease died. So if we look around this room, man, most y'all be dead. Edward Jenner, right? 1796 created the smallpox vaccine. I can't see it. No cases of naturally occurring smallpox. I can read it. No cases of naturally occurring smallpox have happened since 1977. That's in Somalia. Why is that? Because it's based off the vaccine, smallpox vaccine. So the human race, science, right, has actually spoken on the issue. It worked. Next. Got 3 minutes left. Give me an extra minute. I'm about to go up the top of the dome. You can't switch it? Come on. Okay, polio is a contagious, crippling, and potentially deadly infectious disease caused by the polio virus. It can invade and affect a person's brain and spinal cord, causing paralysis. The earliest description of the disease in the USA published in 1894. Worst epidemic recorded in the U.S. occurred in 1952-57, right? 879 cases and 3,145 deaths. Jonas Stark, 1955, and Albert Sabin, 1960, invented the polio vaccine. The United States has been polio-free since 1979. There is no denying that vaccines work. Show of hands, how many in this room have been vaccinated? When you was little, your moms didn't vaccinate you. You had 2. So most of y'all never even seen a vaccine before. Like everybody want to have them put their hands up. I guess we next. Measles, look at the measles. Right? We laugh at measles today. Right? Look at that. Look at that beautiful child. Measles is a contagious infectious disease caused by a virus. It causes, look at this, y'all, red rashes, right? They often start off, the head moves down the body. Go to the next slide.
1 minute left.
The anti-vaccine movement. Opposition to vaccinations has existed as long as vaccinations itself. Edward Jenner invention of the smallpox vaccination was met with a lot of criticism, the same way it is right now. So this is nothing new, right? In the European community, they've been anti-vaccines from the beginning. So while they was anti-vaccine from the beginning, what was we doing, family, in Africa? We was giving them that cutting-edge science, and we're gonna talk about that later. Hey, I appreciate that, y'all. Let's go.
Thank you.
Next is Bigtree, to introduce himself, and yeah. So,
all right. Hello, everyone. My name is Bigtree. First of all, I want to thank this panel for showing up. It's the first time it's very, very important. Just very quickly, I was a producer on the CBS talk show, medical talk show, The Doctors. I won an Emmy Award celebrating the best that medicine had to offer, the best scientists, the best doctors, surgeons in the world. I am pro-science. I had an opportunity to work on a show where I looked for the absolute best of the best. So that's what gets me into this. Then I came upon a story of a whistleblower at the CDC that came forward and said, his name is Dr. William Thompson, is one of the top epidemiologists in the world, and he came forward and said, committing scientific fraud on the safety studies around vaccines, specifically the MMR vaccine and autism. So I made a film called Vax. Vax got kicked out of Tribeca Film Festival. It's been censored all over the world. It's bomb press in places where it has been tried to be shown around the world. So obviously this is a contentious issue, and you got to ask yourself, what are they so afraid of? I mean, there was a movie out there, basically said the President of the United States bombed the World Trade Center. That documentary played in every festival, and every college, and every movie theater in the world. But you make a movie about a whistleblower saying that you're not being told everything about vaccines and it has to be shut down. That should really make you think about what you're doing here. So let me just, because I wasn't planning on this, and I'm not going to waste time with slides because we've got a lot to get through. But let me just say that true, smallpox, polio, I think that there are arguments that those were effective vaccines. And the word effective should not be confused with safe. What I've done after I made the film Vax is I started a nonprofit. And because I'm a journalist, when I was traveling the country with the film Vax, the question everyone kept saying is, well, your film's only about the MMR vaccine. What about all the other vaccines? And I had parents coming up to me. We recorded thousands of parents telling the stories of injury after vaccine. And it wasn't just getting wrong. It was DTaP, it was flu shots, kids that died after flu shots. So for 3 years, I've done nothing except to investigate one word: safety. Is it safe? So it may be effective, but is it causing other problems? For instance, Edward Jenner, who created the smallpox vaccine, arguably the first vaccine ever. They scraped the pus out of a cow that had cowpox. They rubbed it in the cuts of children and people and said, look, you don't get polio. Because the milk babes were milking these cows that had cowpox. They said, maybe this will stop smallpox. But here's a fact that's never talked about. Edward Jenner's own son was one of the first ones they ever tried this experiment on. He ended up being handicapped. In fact, when we looked at how they described him, he is described as something that might have looked like autism. And he ends up dying in his early 20s. Very, very sickly kid. The vaccine didn't work for Edward Jenner's own son. Potentially, it caused one of the first, cases of autism we might have seen. So historically, we have to look at issues like that. Smallpox. Smallpox caused smallpox for some people that got those vaccines. Same thing with polio. Right now, the only cases of polio in the world are being caused by the vaccine itself. Sure, we don't have polio in America, but right now there's, I think, over 7 countries that polio is spreading rampantly from the vaccine strain. Now, they're concerned by the World Health Organization, have they made a mistake? Because, by the way, the polio vaccine we have in this country does not stop transmission. It'll stop you from having symptoms, but you can still carry it and you can still spread it. So there's a real concern that if that vaccine strain polio comes back to America, we're in trouble. So science, here's the main point that I wanted to start out with.
2 minutes left.
There's an arrogance to the vaccine program and to the science. It's the only scientific body in the world that says the science is settled, meaning our science is a math. If you've been through a high school science class, you know the least scientific statement you can make is that the science is settled. You know that science is always growing, it's always evolving, it's always changing. And by the way, when they say the consensus of science says this, the consensus agrees with us, the consensus on global warming Science is the one place where consensus has never mattered at all. Because the consensus has never evolved science. It's always one Galileo, one Newton, one Einstein, one medical team, one scientist that looks at something a different way than everybody else had before, and a lot of times we throw them in jail like we did with Galileo. We end up arresting them and saying you're a heretic. But in the end, history proves out that they were right. Science is only changed by an individual bold enough to do something different. So anytime they say consensus is the main point, that is not the point. And lastly, we've seen the greatest decline in public health in world history. We've gone from 12.8% chronic illness in our children in the 1980s, when we were getting some of like 11 vaccines, polio, and some of the few vaccines. When we got 11 vaccines, our chronic illness rate was 12.8%. Then all of a sudden we took liability away from the industry. You can't sue manufacturers of vaccines, and it was a boom. It exploded, and now our kids are getting 72 vaccines by the time they're 18 years old. And in that same time period, going from 11 vaccines, 12.8% chronic illness, now 54% of America's children have a chronic illness, a permanent illness, either a neurological disorder or an autoimmune disease. Those happen exactly at the same time. 11 vaccines, 12.8% chronic illness, 72 vaccines, 54% chronic illness. And I think it's on the other side of the proof that their vaccines are not doing that to our children. Thank you.
Time. Good job.
Okay, so now we're going to go into the actual debate. And the first question on the table is, are vaccines safe? And it's deliberately vague, so there's plenty of leeway. We're going to start with the pro-vaccine side that's been requested. So you got 3 minutes, and maybe again, who's the first person you want to go? Okay, who's going to go for the first 3 minutes? Are vaccines safe?
You might want to hold the mic so it's start the clock. Okay, here you go. Begin. 3 minutes.
You mentioned that the question is vague, and it is very vague, and it's really an unscientific question, in the sense that the way that vaccines have to come to market, they go through many safety tests. And if they did not determine that it was safe enough for the general consumption of the population, it would not be released. And so this is where people have to understand how science works and how they start off with a small sample size and then increase numbers. They start off with animals in terms of the testing. And as I mentioned earlier, there's a difference between, effectiveness and like efficiency and safety and things of this nature. So the question is, really, what is the alternative for vaccines if the vaccines themselves are not safe? What do you have in place to fight the diseases in which you claim that the vaccines aren't working? And based on what? And what scientific studies support your arguments? And I want to just say quickly to correct some things. Science isn't about a one-man hero. There's a thing called reproducibility that has to be a part of science. And so what makes something strong in the field is its ability, one, to be reproduced, and in the reproduction process with other scientists doing the experiments that they have, by way of falsification in terms of the scientific process, the scientific method, they have strengthened the argument or eliminated other hypotheses. So I would like to know about these other hypotheses that were falsified by their, by their experiments that they've done on their own. And so independent of the quote unquote big pharma.
Last 30 seconds.
I'm done.
Hello. 25 seconds left if you want to finish. Okay.
Okay, so first you to introduce yourself and we'll start the clock when she begins her presentation.
Hi, my name is Christine Henry. I am an independent researcher and I'm here with Truth Talk and a health freedom activist. I've been researching this for 10 years. And I just want to say, it's going down today. I got your tissues for you, huh? People wipe away your tears when I'm done. It's going down. Anyway, so this is how science works. What needs to happen is they have to have a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled study. And that hasn't been done. That's a gold standard of science to determine if something is effective or not. Also, there's never been a vaccine versus unvaccinated study. Okay? When you look at the manufacturer's insert for vaccines, it says that vaccines are not tested for carcinogenesis, the ability to cause cancer, mutagenesis, the ability to mutate your genetics, or the ability to impair fertility. Every single vaccine insert says this, okay? The ingredients of the vaccines, for instance, aborted fetal tissues and aborted fetal cells that are in vaccines actually can cause mutagenesis, which means it has the ability to integrate into your DNA. There is a very famous scientist named Teresa Deisher who's doing really good work, stem cell research work she discovered heart stem cells, and she's done really good work on this. And she's been able to show that they are integrated into our DNA, independent of the vaccine manufacturers and the pharmaceutical industries, which also the pharmaceutical industries have run the tests that say that vaccines are safe. So there's a huge conflict of interest there. It's like the fox guarding the hen house. Also, I'm just going to talk about some of the ingredients. You have polysorbate 80, which is also known to mutate your genes. When injected rapidly, it can break down into sorbitol and cause diabetes, cell death, and mitochondrial failure. Benzoyl alcohol, that's one of the ingredients in the vaccines, attacks the liver. Transcripts from CDC meetings have revealed that vaccines can contain prions, which are proteins that can cause mad cow disease. Alcohol oncogenes, which are also cancer-causing. They've also found birth leukemia, and the enzyme reverse transcriptase, which can actually give you a positive test for HIV. Adjuvants that are injected into the body can cause an inflammatory response. They can cause antibody complexes, which get stuck in soft tissues and joints, and that can lead to things like arthritis and lupus, kidney damage, and brain damage.
Final minute.
It can also cause demyelinating diseases, which is MS. And adjuvants, actually, that they use like aluminum squalene, ramps up the antibodies and puts the body into a hyperinflammatory state. And that also is linked with autoimmune diseases. And dengue and also the intense antibody response can also actually cause hyper responses in other diseases such as dengue fever, Zika virus, HPV, and Ebola. So those are just some of the points in which vaccines aren't safe. You can say that they have, wiped out diseases, which if you look at data from all different Western countries, it shows that diseases were wiped out when sanitation was implemented before vaccines even came into play. And even taking that into account, just the ingredients of the vaccines can cause autoimmune diseases.
Next side. Next side.
Real quick, we need to start fact checking real fast. So the first speaker that actually spoke, he talked about Edward Jenner's son dying from a vaccination. That's just not true. At this point, I require them to provide a source for that. Actually, Edward Jenner's son died 55 years later. He talks about it in his own journals, exactly what happened to his son. So we would need that source provided, please.
I'd like to make a comment on, it's true that, certain diseases, we never had vaccines and they disappeared, but like measles, it's still around, and it's incontrovertible that vaccines reduced the number of incidents of measles in this country and all over the world.
You got 1 minute and 50 seconds to continue your side.
I just want to know, does everyone in the audience even know what a vaccine is? And what it does? And what it's supposed to do? Because some people act like a vaccine is supposed to be this invisible shield that glows around the body instead of a tool, an aid to help the white blood cells fight off infectious diseases. And so to me, I look at it like a military type situation, how you do drills. Anybody who's been in the military, you kind of prepare for any type of scenario or whatnot. And so in a vaccine, I'm sorry?
Final minute.
Okay. A vaccine acts as, a drill situation for your white blood cells to fight off diseases. Now, sure, if the enemy comes into your neighborhood and attacks, there's some people that could survive. But if everybody is trained in the neighborhood with military training and whatnot, and has weapons that can fight against an external threat, the likelihood that more people in your neighborhood will survive those attacks increases. And so this is what the vaccines are aimed to do. So we got to understand what a vaccine is, what it does, and then we can have the discussion. So I just didn't want to assume that everyone knew what a vaccine was and what it actually did.
6 seconds.
6 seconds. Actually, let me tell you where the son actually died from. Jenny's son suffered brain damage and died after. Okay, so it wasn't the vaccine.
Time.
I just want to put that there. All right, thank you. So I'm going to address the question of the vaccines are safe. From this perspective of a scientist, it's good to see other scientists up here. I've done biomedical research all of my professional adult career, and you're right. Your expectation is if there's going to be vaccines and they're going to vaccinate everybody in the entire world, that they would be safety tested. The problem is that vaccines are not drugs, and the actual rules that are in place by our federal government for safety testing of vaccines are different for biologics, which vaccines are biologics, than they are for drugs. To test a drug for safety, you have to do a small sample clinical trial and a large clinical trial, and then a very large scale, long-term outcome, 10, 15 years, monitoring that in clinical trial before it gets FDA approved. Vaccines, as Bigtree's group ICANN did in a deep dive on literature, they don't use placebo controls sufficiently, and they don't have a long-term outcome. Now, if vaccines were safe, then we wouldn't have a national vaccine advisory, national vaccine compensation program. Why would they make their products liability-free? This doesn't sit with me with any sense of reality. If vaccines were safe, we wouldn't have the Supreme Court and many regulations based on the presumption that vaccines are unavoidably unsafe. Our own government says they're not safe. So the answer to the question is vaccines are not safe. My answer is vaccines are not safe enough. They're not safe for everyone. There are some people that will go through the vaccine schedule, like my two sons, who are both fully vaccinated. Thank you. All right? I promised I would say that.
Yeah, so you heard what he just said. That scientist right there just said that both his kids is vaccinated. Now, what you don't know is the backstory. And the backstory is we were sitting down having a conversation, talking about evolution, and the guy was like, so what college did you graduate from? He thought I had like a master's or a doctor's degree. I said, I ain't graduated from no damn college. I just understand the conversation. Devon was sitting there talking, wow. The man looked at him and laughed. He said, ha ha, that's funny. And then I set him up. I said, bro, during this debate, I dare you say that your kids is vaccinated. First, I asked him, I say, so if you know so much about vaccines, then you know they safe and effective. right? I said, are you vaccinated? He said, yes, I'm vaccinated. My whole family is vaccinated. I said, yeah, so why are you over here? I just wanted to be safe or something stupid like that. So I said, I tell you what, I bet you won't say that. This fool get right up there and he said that. Well, that's the backstory to that. Let me see if I can kind of go back an inch. But that's the backstory behind him saying that his kids was vaccinated. It was wild, boy. I tell you, boy, you can always get them. All right, let me see. Here we go.
Safe, we wouldn't have the Supreme Court and many regulations based on the presumption that vaccines are unavoidably unsafe. Our own government says they're not safe. So the answer to the question is vaccines are not safe. My answer is vaccines are not safe enough. They're not safe for everyone. There are some people that will go through the vaccine schedule, like my two sons, who are both fully vaccinated. Thank you. Right? I promised I would say that. They're both fully vaccinated. Now, why am I here then? Am I on the anti-vax side? Absolutely not. I'm on the side that says vaccines are safe and effective. Vaccines can be made safer. William Thompson not only said it was the MMR, the thing that got me in the game is when William Thompson told Brian Hooker that the CDC not only sanitized the results for the MMR study, for the MMR vaccine, but they have a panel that sanitizes the results of every publication that goes into every vaccine journal for every vaccine. Every vaccine, they sanitize the results. So the fraud is massive. I'm a scientist. I too am here on the side of science, and I thank you for your time.
You have 20 seconds. Anyone else want to contribute?
I'll let the gentleman, since my answer. Just because it was challenged my statement on Edward Jenner. After Edward Jenner, this is off the internet, Jenner vaccinated his own 18-month-old son. He suffered neurological brain damage, and both boys, the two of the boys he tested on, died of tuberculosis before the age of 21. It's not 55, 21, as I said, early 20s. And the argument is that neurological disorders is the conversation. You know, autism is a neurological disorder. And when you talk to doctors that specialize in it, it's a behavior. Now, one mother put it best. She says, vaccines don't cause autism. Vaccines cause brain swelling, encephalopathy, and the resulting behavior that comes from that can be autism. It can also be schizophrenia or many other neurological disorders. So what happens is the brain swells from the vaccine. It's written on the insert of the vaccine itself. All you have to do is ask your doctor, say, can I read the insert that the manufacturer wrapped around the vaccine itself? And you will see encephalopathy written on many of the vaccines, meaning it can cause brain swelling. If your baby's brain swells, it can result in autism. So my point being, we don't know because they didn't do a good diagnostic back in 1798. But what we do know is he was a sickly kid, he had a neurological disorder, which is what the parents all describe as the injury to their child from the vaccine. That's my point. Thank you.
Your side wants to respond. Your turn. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Richard Trump, we heard the name of William Thompson, and as a scientist, I am very concerned about potential fraud. So what I would say, come forward, because other than that, you can't really evaluate those statements unless he comes forward. So he has to come forward because you can't evaluate those statements otherwise. In terms of Jenner, I don't think we can settle that issue. But I can say that certainly we shouldn't. That was more than 200 years ago. The science has advanced since then. So the safety studies that are done today are very different than back in that day.
2 minutes.
Yeah, I appreciate that scientist over there telling us that his children were vaccinated. And so obviously, he understands the need for vaccination, no matter what he says. He's actually in the field. Now, he spoke of a paper. He's not speaking of paper. And we're waiting for the publishing of that paper so we can read it. One thing's for sure, we don't just listen to one scientist's opinion. Thank goodness we be in trouble. Appreciate that the whole international community of Asian, African, Native American, people from India, they all weighed in on the idea to concept. So at this point, we gotta make sure we start fact checking every day, right? Make sure we're not getting into these pseudoscience. I would actually say that once y'all sit down and really look at the textbook, we're saying we're gonna find a lot of pseudo. We're gonna find a lot of discredited information. So that question about if vaccines are safe or not, the point is, it's far safer than running around unvaccinated, and we got to prove that.
1 minute, 10 seconds left.
I do want to address the government having a court system for vaccinations. The reason is, ladies and gentlemen, because it was discouraging companies who find treatments or some sort of cure, not cures, but some way to battle diseases. If you keep suing a company that's using their billions of dollars to do research, you're not going to create any vaccines at all. So the government created their own court and a fund to make sure that these companies stay in business. So I thought it was a good move by the government, because you know what? 2 weeks ago in Israel,
30 seconds.
They have a cure, they created a vaccine, I'm sorry, not cure, for breast cancer. How many people in your family have died of breast cancer?
Quickly,
10 seconds.
You'll find that I like to define things first. So my question is, when you're saying safe, how are you quantifying safe? What is the difference between safe and unsafe when you're making your argument that vaccines are unsafe? How are you quantifying that?
Time.
Okay.
Next slide.
I'm going to take 30 seconds and then we're going to pitch it to Del. I have the same question for the CDC, because on their website, they say vaccines are safe. No qualifiers, no details. And yet we have all these injured people that show up, tens of thousands of people that are injured by vaccines. So it's a great point, great question. And I respect the question that we need to verify. So when I read that William Thompson did that, both of you made that point. When William Thompson said that all the vaccine safety studies, I went out and I got all the vaccine safety studies. And as a biomedical research scientist, I read what they did specifically. They would get the data from their study. They found a result that they didn't like. They would reanalyze the data again by changing the methods with a different method of analysis or change the design. They found a result that they didn't like. And then they just redesigned the same study, the same data, and analyzed it over and over and over again. That's not science. I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't verified, so you're right, we should make sure we're not talking about pseudoscience on our side, but the CDC is expert at doing what I call science-like activities.
I think when we're talking about safety, let's just go to our main case. This is the only capture system we have in the United States of America, right? Right. The only capture system we have is called BEARS, the Action Adverse Events Reporting System. When we took liability in 1986, we put the system in place. So this is where we report injuries from vaccines. We're talking about safety, we're talking about injuries. In 2018, last year, there was 62,803 reported injuries from vaccines. There was 533 reported deaths from vaccines, 1,400 permanent disabilities, 5,000 hospitalizations, and 5,000 emergency room visits. I don't think any of these guys in this panel would be happy with those numbers. We don't want to be killing 533 innocent people. Now, it gets worse. I think those numbers are terrible. I don't think we should accept that. I don't think we can kill innocent children. Somewhere in that 533 may be a future president or a future scientist to make a better product that doesn't kill children at all. Okay, but here's what's worse. Harvard Medical School is hired to investigate this system and see how efficient it is. And what they discovered, Harvard Medical School, we paid $1 million, and they determined that fewer than 1% of the total adverse events are even being reported. Additionally, you can see that the Commissioner of the FDA came to the same conclusion. So that means that potentially last year there weren't 62,000 injuries. If Harvard Medical School is right, we're made for 6 million injuries, 500 deaths, 53,000 deaths. And then, of course, emergency room visits goes from 5,000 to 500,000. This is why we need to be having this debate. This is why we have to have this debate.
Yeah. You ready?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me? Now, that's very interesting, coming from a person that's well learned in the field. but I find it very hypocritical to talk bad about vaccines, and I'm gonna tell you why. In 1942 to 1962, we had 500,000 new cases reported to the CDC of measles. All right? Here in the United States. Now, in the US. Now, I wanna ask a question to the audience, to clarify. Would you rather today 500,000 people catching measles every year? Would you rather 500 people dying every year of measles? Would we rather that? So now, ladies and gentlemen, it's ridiculous at this moment, but you're looking at 500 people dying annually between 1942 and 1962, and then the vaccine was introduced. And all of a sudden, in the year 2000, measles has almost been completely out the door. But guess what? This year, 2019, in a county in Rockland, New York, we found measles because of the Jewish community. And hold on a second. Then it spread to Brooklyn. And of course, in New York now, it's mandated that children as of June have to be vaccinated. You're not vaccinated, but you can't use religious reasons for not being vaccinated. I use my time.
Minute and 10 seconds left.
I would like to know, out of those, for example, the 5,588 emergency room visits, how many of them have been determined to be false? And what is the actual source of the data? I saw a source funding something, but no actual, but what is the title of the source?
It's on the CDC website.
Vaccine Adverse Events Reporting System, VAERS. V is in Victor.
So
40 seconds.
Knowing that just because someone visits the doctor doesn't mean that what they came there for, what they thought they came there for, was the exact reason for their being there. And so I would like to study the text to see what it actually says. And so this is one of the reasons why we're here, so people just don't throw numbers at you without thinking holistically of what could possibly. You have a lot of
Final 10 seconds.
You have a lot of false flags in information. Some of this stuff may be outlined in the text, but because they don't expect you to actually read it, they post it up there. So just want to put that out there.
Time.
All right, thank you. So you are a scientist, because you just said that you want to know more. I congratulate you on that. And you should look into it. It's pretty robust. The vaccine adverse events reporting system that's out there actually comes with a warning on it that says, although this is our nation's best way of tracking vaccine adverse events, you are not allowed to infer causality because it's a passive system. We do not have any viable way of tracking accurately the full scope of vaccine injury in the United States. But I do want to correct the statistics. According to the CDC, there were not 500,000 cases of measles every year before 1960, before the vaccine. There were 8 million cases of measles every year. In a population of 160 million people with 450 to 500 deaths. I'll say that slow. 450 to 500 deaths in a population of 160 million people out of 8 million cases. So let's just I just want to correct that stat.
Hi, my name is Danielle. Okay, we heard a lot about science, maybe a lot of your heads are spinning right now. I'm going to keep it, strictly speaking, as a parent. I have a master's in education, I have an associate's in marketing, I have a bachelor's in media and communications, certified fitness trainer, very big into health. None of that matters. None of that matters if I do not have common sense, if I don't trust my instincts. Because without that, you die. That's what keeps you alive, your instincts, your common sense. So no medical degree, no medical background is going to equip me to know what's best for my child, nor will I trust any medical doctor, not any, but the majority that's funded by big pharma, okay? The non-biased studies, where are they? So that being said, I'm sorry, it's just a very emotional topic. We talk about trace amounts, that's what we're saying in the vaccine, right? Trace amounts of aluminum, trace amounts of mercury. Do you want to ingest those trace amounts? Do you want to feed that to your child? So why on earth are you injecting it? Formaldehyde? Why are you injecting that? How many of you want to drink a trace amount of cyanide? So you take trace amounts of faith. What is the trace amount for someone my size, for someone Curtis's size, for a newborn baby? It's all the same. Okay, and you're putting that in there not knowing what the effect is going to be. What are the long-term effects? We talk about immediate reactions. What are the long-term effects? Why are cancer rates so high? I want to give an analogy about vitamin water. We all want to take our vitamins, right? They're healthy. Let's give them to our kids. Vitamin water. Look at the amount of vitamins in the vitamin water. That's great. Give it to our kids. It tastes great. What are you getting with that vitamin water? 30% of sugar. You know what sugar does to the body. So maybe you're getting a little bit protection from some disease that's pretty much curable these days. But in turn, what are you getting as a side effect, as a risk? Okay? So I'm not playing that. I'm not playing Russian roulette with a two-chamber gun.
Final round on this question.
Real quick, let's come to the journal of science. All right? Let's deal with reactions to vaccines. This is coming from vaccine for itself. I'll go through the article in the Journal of Science, vaccine court on trial. It says a life-threatening allergic reaction that almost any vaccine can cause and occurs 1.3 times per million vaccinations. That's what the court records actually. I don't know why they want to kind of leave that out. 1.3 and 1 million people. That's crazy. So, for my community, right, gun violence is high. For my community, how many people know a family member that suffers from gun violence? Raise your hand. For my people, how many people know a family member that never finished high school and didn't even make it to college? Please raise your hand. For my family, how many people, right, in the community have a drug addiction? Did y'all know of, friends? How many people in the community have been to drug rehabs? Raise your hand. How many of us have been to prison? Raise your hand. How many people in my community got a family member that died from a vaccine? Raise your hand. Died from a vaccine that you know. In the black community, I don't see any hands. So maybe we have one, I see 1, 2, 3, died from vaccine. That's what. So, now we struck a nerve. Right. So we got 4.2 African Americans died from cocaine addiction. 4.2.
Yeah, that was funny. The white people start raising their hand talking about they died from vaccines. Crazy. Like one black person raised their hand. You know they was lying. One thing about our community, yo, you never stand outside the bar or in the barbershop talking about how many of y'all done died from damn vaccines. Boy, the cat was in full effect. Boy, I tell you, that was a wild audience, man. Well, I see MBK and them in the building, man. Big up to y'all, man. Like I said before, yo, they threw me a valuable source. I'm not quite sure, Rawborn, if you know what the hell that source was about, but the source was powerful, man. And big up, man.
To die from cocaine addiction. Listen to me now. Listen. So we have the intelligence to get into the conversation of vaccination.
Let them speak, please. Let them speak.
We have the intelligence to do this, but we need to know that for us to take away vaccines from our community, to take that away or to give us pseudo-scientific answers, because what's going to come up next is the question will be asked, well, maybe we want to agree with you about vaccines. Well, and if not vaccines, what does that side have? It has over 275 years of working in our community. Please give us that answer. That's what we really get into it.
30 seconds. $26 seconds or so.
I just want to question about the malabon. So, it's a buzzword, so everyone should know that your body actually produces malabon, 1.5 ounces on a daily basis. And so, when you say a trace amount, again, we're dealing with science, and I need the quantity based, I need the exact numbers in terms of what you consider a trace versus what you don't consider a trace. And so, this is why we don't go by anecdotal things.
Time. Final comment this side.
Polio and smallpox, you can say that that's anecdotal too, right? Because the statistics only show that vaccines actually. Okay, anyway, what I'm gonna say, how many people have lupus or have any family, anybody in the family has lupus? Asthma, allergies, multiple sclerosis? Oh wow, it's more than gun violence, right? Wow, very interesting. Those are all vaccine-induced autoimmune diseases. So than gun violence. Do you want to play that game? Anyway,
This is a challenge that, it's your opinion. I think it's important to hear from the scientists themselves. So this is a scientist, and I heard mention the third world factor. We've been saving ourselves from disease all over the world, and that's part of the argument being made. So this is the guy that is the head guy that vaccinates the third world. This is how he describes their DPT vaccine program. He just discovered this recently all over the world. Oh, where's audio? Do you have audio?
Put your mic up to the computer, that's the best.
Put your mic on.
Yeah, well, this is getting this out.
You think that we don't vaccines are doing we don't. Program we talked about at the time, the vaccine program was introduced sort of in the late 70s after the successful smallpox WHO made one of the first.
Like, share, and subscribe.
What comes out of it is time will tell. And that is the most vaccine in the world.
Can't hear.
Alright, so can you hear me? So this guy is telling you that the DPT vaccine program he ran 30 years ago killed 10 times the amount of kids when they only got the DTP vaccine. What he says at the top of it is, you may think we know how vaccines work, but we do not. That's what none of these guys on the panel over here can admit. They don't know how a vaccine works, so it's a guessing game. And now they know they're killing 10 times the amount of kids.
What a tangled web we weave.
The person
first we practice to deceive. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive.
Who works with him? I'm going to move forward here. Listen to what this girl has to say. She also works in Guinea-Bissau, Africa. I'll see if you can hear this. She will tell you, listen to these numbers. We're talking about vaccines save lives. Vaccines as far as DPT right now in the third world. By the way, my nonprofit is suing UNICEF and the WHO for killing innocent African children as we speak. They're not stopping the use of this vaccine.
Before we start the discussion of TCP vaccine, is a volume discussion was rejected.
So it's gonna be time. Time.
All right, so what she ends up telling us is we are killing 1 million children per year with this vaccine program throughout the third world. If we just stop using DPT, we could save 1 million children every year. So when we think about how much is being saved by vaccines, they're also, when there's a bad one, it kills. That's what I wanted to point out.
So that was the end of that round?
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick survey on each round, and so I hope the cameras can focus on the audience, and I'm gonna put the question to the audience. By a round of applause, if you feel that, having heard what you heard on both sides regarding the safety of vaccines, if you feel that vaccines are safe, applaud, raise your hands. So everybody feels the vaccines are safe, please applaud. Show the camera around. Very good visual. Okay. And if you feel that vaccines based on unsafe, still unsafe, you probably would not give it to your children, please applaud. I think that now we'll go to the con side. Okay.
Now I was wondering, Curtis Cost, super pseudo ass. He brought the people into the damn building. 99% of the people in the building was anti-vax. It was actually an anti-vax rally. How the hell are you going to turn around and ask them? The people you did hear cheering for us, I turned them. And after the debate, a lot of them people was up at my table saying, man, I never heard this type of information before. But that show you that people go to any lengths when they getting paid to do what they do, because they definitely got paid. Now, I ain't saying I'm not saying I didn't get paid to do it, but I'm saying they got paid to promote misinformation in the damn black community. That's why to this very day, I ain't never forgave James Smalls nor pseudo divine suspect. Very, very interesting, man. Let us get back to it. A hell of a crowd in there, though, man.
Moving on to the next question. Question number 2 is, do vaccines effectively prevent disease? Do vaccines effectively prevent disease? So I guess since Amir's their turn.
Hey, Bernstein, the one who says stop playing. Let's go to the Philadelphia Children's Hospital that you played for. Numerous studies have examined many different vaccines to date. None have consistently been shown to cause autoimmune diseases. If some studies for immunized vaccines was shown, hey, you got two pictures over there, young lady, have shown to cause GBS at a rate of 1 case per million vaccines represented. But this should be used in light of the fact that natural influenza infection causes GBS in 17 million people infected. So in the sense, influenza vaccines could be used as preventing a more common cause of GBS. See how they cherry picking through the two loops at this point? They're cherry picking scientific data. She didn't give you a source for that. She just talked. That's my response. Let's go. So we're right here, right? Let's deal with this. Pre-vaccine. Y'all see that? Before the vaccine, 158 cases per million a year. 1936. Reduction, 100% post-vaccine, 0 cases per million. I want to see what they got over there, y'all. What do they have to create these results right here? I don't know. You need to figure it out. Death, right this. Death, pre-vaccine, 13.7 million deaths per year. 1936-45. Deaths after vaccine, reduction, post-vaccine, 0 deaths per million. Measles, pre-vaccine, 3,044 cases per million a year. 99% reduction, right? Post-vaccine, 0.2 per million cases. Pre-vaccine, 2.5 deaths per million per year. 1953, 100% reduction They got oranges and apples. What exactly do they have to fight against the pathogens that are evolving around us? What exactly do they have for our community? I want to know. It ain't time to be tiptoeing through the, we're not going to do that. Make them answer this simple question. Vaccines have provided protection for our communities because we're all sick here. What is it that they have? What is it that they have that can change the course of 300,000 years of Homo sapiens? I want to find that out. That's what Brother Uncle did. Let's stay on that for a minute. What is the effective cure or the effective thing against the pathogens that they talk crazy about right now?
Thank you. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, question is whether vaccines work. And there's absolutely no doubt that if you take an antigen from a pathogen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. If you take an antigen from a pathogen and you put it into the human body, if it's in there in sufficient dose, it'll cause an immune reaction. Whether it's in an infection or whether it's in an injection, there's no doubt about it. The problem is our hubris as a species causes us to think that we can control nature, that we can stop evolution in its tracks. And in fact, what we've done by bringing so many vaccines against so many pathogens is we've actually changed the adaptive landscape for these viruses in humanity. We've evolved with these viruses over millions of years. And I could pick any number one of them. I could pick the pertussis situation where we know now that the pertussis vaccine program is called a failed vaccine program by Dr. James Cherry. That's not me. It's failed because it no longer prevents the transmission. You still get an infection in your throat, you can transmit it to other people. And along the way that, you asked for an alternative to vaccines, because of vaccines, we haven't developed new drugs to fight this pathogen. We have not developed new ways to fight these kinds of infections because we rely on vaccines. But if we're looking at it from the pertussis situation, it's a failed vaccine program. So what did they do? They decided to inject pregnant women without any vaccine safety testing whatsoever. They started the program, and the FDA does not approve of that. It's an off-label use of the vaccine. But I want to talk about HPV vaccine. I want to talk about the HPV vaccine, how prior to the vaccination program, we had very high frequency types of HPV circulating in the population. And after the vaccination program, in the countries that were early adopters, we now see the rare types that are rare because they're deadly. I'm an evolutionary biologist. The rare HPV types are rising in frequency, and we're starting to see girls at the age of 24 developing cervical cancer, and the rates of cervical cancer are increasing in these countries. The promise of HPV vaccine was to reduce cervical cancer, and it's increasing. We think we can control. We think we can control nature, the mutational power of evolution, and the nature of evolution by natural selection is so powerful that our technologies are basically going to become useless against any kind of pathogen as we make them more and more and more dangerous.
Okay, so we've been on this earth as man for 200,000 years without vaccines.
Time. Other side. Hold that thought.
Right side. Let me get that white. I don't want that black.
Testing.
I don't want that black one. I want the white one. Here. Hey, we don't want the black one. We want the white one. Hey, y'all keep that on that side.
Testing. Hey, why do you sound so good?
I don't know.
Thank you. I just wanted to respond to the fear of the DPT studies. They are not giving the DPT in the U.S. anymore, and that should show you that safety is taken into consideration. What is given in the U.S. now is the acellular pertussis vaccine, And yes, there's a fine line between the safety and effectiveness. We know that, it's definitely, it was more effective, the DBT vaccine. The one that is given now may be less effective, but if you think about whooping cough, that is a terrible disease especially for infants. So again, it shows that science is taken into consideration when these vaccines are being improved. And maybe the answer in Africa is also to remove the DBT and include the acellular pertussis, but that's beyond my pay grade, so I don't want to comment on that.
And I just want to, kind of pause a bit and just remind the audience that when I asked him the question about safety, he didn't answer the question. He deferred to the CDC and said that the CDC doesn't know what's safe. So if he's relying on the CDC for what is safe and what's not, if the CDC can't tell you what's safe, then he definitely can't tell us what is unsafe. And so this is problematic, when you have anti-vaxxers trying to say what is unsafe. Secondly, they also have no alternative. Is that time or? Oh. He also said that there's no alternative because there's been vaccines, all the money and stuff has been spent on the vaccines, which means he doesn't have any alternative experiments or anything to offer, us, which means that they're not doing any research in any other area. This is the point that I'm trying to make. And so I just wanted to highlight that and put that into the mind before we move forward and we gloss over those two things.
Well, we're tangled where we be, we reckon you can see. Are you telling me, are you serious that at the end of the day, they have absolutely nothing? So let's just sit around the lake and let's just get attacked by viruses and pathogens and let's get away from the African genius. I ain't talking about that yet. I'm gonna save my whole cause. I got it, coach. Put me in the game. All right. So first of all, I'd like to ask respectfully that you not refer to me as anti-vaccine. I'm not anti-vaccine. First of all, I want you to I'm on you, and you're on that side. That means something, y'all. Technology, we learned about that. So I identify as a vaccine risk-aware American. I'm a vaccine risk-aware American, and I wasn't there when the vaccine safety studies were done thoroughly, but I found that out. And I wasn't there when the CDC was taken over by a prevention paradigm. It sounds great on paper. You guys are making all the standard cases for it. But I am here now where I see the consequences of that program. And I did answer your question. Absolutely. I said, I think vaccines can be made safer, which means I don't think they're safe enough. And so wait. What I'm saying is, I don't think vaccines are safe, but I do think that they can be made safer. That answers the question 100%. That answers the question. So when I say that we don't have alternatives, I'm decrying the lack of science that was not funded and prioritized by the NIH. All of our tax dollars have gone into vaccines, vaccine development. CDC owns patents on vaccines, so very financially quagmire on that. And our tax dollars also go to the NIH. The NIH should have started studies on how to recover people from vaccine injury. If I had a seizure right now, if I have a seizure this minute, y'all call an ambulance in the hospital in a minute, they know exactly what they're going to do to me. They're going to give me an intervention, a medical intervention. If you're an infant and you're 6 months old, 10 months old, 12 months old, you have a vaccine and you have a seizure, they do nothing for you medically. Nothing. They send you home. That's criminal. I want to yield the balance of my time to my colleague. That's you.
I respect your deep regions. Personally, I'm anti-vaccine because I don't believe in putting something into your body that you don't need and that causes, you to be injured. So, we've been on this earth 300,000 years without vaccines. Vaccines have only been around 200 years, so speaking. We only vaccinate for 16 diseases when there are millions of microbes on this earth. We didn't go around vaccinating like roaches and rats and other animals, just domesticated pets and human beings are the only, or livestock are the only animals that are vaccinated. There's a province in China, Zhejiang province, that they have a population of 57 million people. They have a 99.9% measles vaccination rate. They had over 700 measles outbreaks in county. So how are they, almost all of their population vaccinated, and they're still getting the virus? By the way, I survived the measles outbreak of 2019. Just want to say that. Other side. Other side.
Oh, yes. As a person who is well versed in linguistics, when you say safer, the implication is that it's already safe. You're just improving the safety quality. And so since we're dealing with these words and this vagueness, there was a reason why I asked for the quantization of the term. What constitutes safe, so that we have something to work with other than a vague safe. So like for example, if I ask the question, are airbags safe? The question still remains, well, what do you constitute as safe? If it's no injury whatsoever, then airbags would not be quote unquote safe. I've been in an accident and I've had an airbag deployed in my face. And it burns and it hurts your nose once it happens. But it leaves after a little while and there's no permanent injury. You have a little pain, but that is better than the alternative of smashing your face against the head, against the steering wheel, and then cracking your face and all other kinds of injuries happen.
But the question is, vaccines do effectively prevent disease. That's this question.
I understand. I'm just responding to the response. So this is why we have to quantify. So if in the case of the vehicle as an analogy, if no pain whatsoever is the determinant of whether it's safe or not, then airbags are not safe. And so all medicines, for the most part, have some kind of side effect or something to this nature. So what constitutes safe in a very quantitative manner, so that we can, when we're actually doing and looking at the experiment, we can actually determine whether something is safe or not, just not some vague anecdotal where it can change from person to person in terms of determining what is safe or not.
So we're all living examples. We're all living examples, whether we like it or not, whether vaccines help prevent disease. If y'all say it ain't, y'all lying. Y'all lying. My children never had the measles, the month, nor the chicken pox. I had the chicken pox. If you look at it, the schedule, if you look at it, you'll find out that the chicken pox actually came in probably 1968 when they first been out. I was born in 1968. So I don't see y'all fall apart. You know the problem is, I know what it is. If you was in Africa or Asia somewhere, or third world country, you be crying for a vaccine. You be crying for a vaccine. I know I got them when I hear them start talking. Yeah, I know I got them. If you was over there in Asia in the far corner somewhere, you be like, man, I need one of them American vaccines. We can talk trash because we got Apple phone and Google. We can go to McDonald's. If you have to go down to the lake and get 8 pound bail on the way to the lake, you're like, man, it's dangerous out here. Oh, time's up. I was in the zone. Time's up. Wow, bring me back. Hey, how you doing, brother? I got you next little
Check, okay. I'm going to try and just stay in advocacy to remove the safety, but safety as safe as receiving a saline injection. as safe as not getting anything at all. That's what safe means. That's the definition of safe. Every drug we take is tested against either a sugar pill, if we swallow it, or a saline injection, meaning it has to be as safe as getting nothing at all. That's the determination of safe. They've never done it for vaccines. But we move on to that. Do vaccines work? This is our current now. We don't use that DPT that's killing people now. We use DTaP. This is Boston University. I am a journalist. I'm just quoting the science that's out there. This is from Boston University. Resurgence of whooping cough may owe to the vaccine's inability to prevent infections. The startling global research that pertussis for whooping cough in recent years can largely be attributed to the immunological failures of acellular vaccines. It goes on to say, listen to this quote. This is the top scientist at Boston University. He believes in vaccines just like my esteemed friends over here. This disease is back because we didn't really understand how our immune defenses against whooping cough work. And we didn't understand how the vaccines needed to work to prevent it, said Christopher J. Gill, Associate Professor of Global Health and lead author of the article. Instead, listen to this science, instead we layered assumptions upon assumptions and now find ourselves in the uncomfortable position of admitting that we have made some crucial errors. This is definitely not where we thought we'd be in 2017. You see, baboon studies and real studies done by scientists have found that the whooping cough vaccine doesn't stop you from transmitting whooping cough. It just keeps you from having a cough. So all it's doing is taking away your alarm system to know you're sick. So when they tell you to go get a vaccine for whooping cough before you visit the new baby in the family, that's the last thing you should do. Because if you don't get that vaccine and you have a cough, you're going to say to yourself, I better not miss the family right now. Mommy and daddy got a cough, grandpa got a cough. But if you get this vaccine, the only thing you do is take away your cough. Now you're a silent killer going to visit your family. Keep them on. There's another comment, 120-year odyssey because it's containing vaccines. Listen to this. Because of linked epitope suppression, all children who are primed by DTaP vaccines will be more susceptible to pertussis throughout their lifetime. There's no easy way to decrease this increased lifetime susceptibility. So now you're going to get pertussis more because you got the vaccine. I don't know how you can kill the idea that it's not effective. It's actually making you sicker, and this is written by scientists. Look at this, more polio cases now caused by vaccine than by wild virus. I'm not saying that, AP is saying it. Here's the Disneyland measles outbreak in California. This is our own Department of Health saying 31% of the people that got measles had the vaccine, so the vaccine failed at 31%. Not working. Look at this, 30% of the cases, you look that up, 30% of the cases had vaccine strain measles, meaning they got the measles from the vaccine. So all of those things, I think, prove that many of these vaccines are failing to be effective in fact to make us more sick. Thank you very much.
So I'd like to respond to that, saying that what you were saying in terms of the efficacy, yes, it is true that we are seeing polio because of the polio vaccine, but the numbers are much lower. The same applies to measles. The measles vaccine is effective for the large majority of the population. They are not 100% effective. They are not 100% effective, and when you were talking about safety, you were saying is responded, to the studies. But when you're looking at the safety of a vaccine, you should consider the disease itself and not saline. That's not the standard. It's the standard in the clinical trials. But when you are looking at the safety of a vaccine, you have to consider what would happen if you don't have that vaccine and you are dealing with the natural disease. So I just wanted to point out.
Hey, I wanted to respond about the HPV vaccine causing cervical cancer. In initial clinical trials, the original vaccine was given to 20,000 women aged 16 to 26 years in 33 countries, including Australia, before it was approved for widespread use. These trials show the vaccine is almost 100% effective in preventing abnormalities in cells in the cervix caused by cancer-causing HPV type 16 and 18. These abnormalities are a proven precursor to cervical cancer. The trials of Gardasil 9 demonstrated that this vaccine is almost 100% effective at preventing these cells in the cervix cervix caused by cancer causing HPV types 31, 33, 45, 52, and 58. The vaccine works best if it is given before you're sexually active. Also, there is no evidence that boys and girls who receive the vaccine have sex earlier than those who do not have the vaccine. But anyway, that's a different fact. But the vaccine is safe. The Global Advisory Committee on Vaccine Safety of the World Health Organization has reviewed all published and emerging data about the vaccines in real world use and declared HPV vaccine safe for use. Also, the vaccine cannot cause cancer or any other HPV-related diseases. The vaccine does not contain any live or killed HPV virus. It is made from a single protein like the one the virus has on its outer coat. When you have the vaccine, your body makes antibodies, of course, which is used to fight the real virus if you're ever exposed. So I would like to see a source. I want to see a source today of HPV the way you described it.
Thank you. Hey, hold on 5 seconds, I guess we'll all be walking home because it's not safe to drive because people die in car accidents. So let's all walk home. You say this again, we'll all be walking home because we won't be catching the bus because people die in car accidents and high risk.
Time. Other side.
So,
Doug, I want to address one thing, I think.
you brought up airbags. You brought up airbags. The reason why airbags are so safe is because we have an NTSB. We have an NTSB. This is the National Traffic Safety Board. There is no National Traffic Safety Board in the United States.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now,
Well, can I just jump in with the statement you just made about driving? I think you just said that we wanted to debate because all we wanted to show you was that there is a risk. You're right, there is a risk of driving. Some people don't drive because it's dangerous. They decide not to. We know those people. We need that same twist of vaccine because you're right, very much the same.
the citation that you asked for that I would give you is by Dr. Lowe, University of Texas. G-U-O. G-U-O is the first citation of type replacement. And he specifically attributed the changes in the HPV types that were affecting the girls to changes in their sexual patterns because the doctors tell the patient that the doctors tell the patient that you're protected from HPV. You just cited the statistics on specific HPV vaccine targeted HPV types. And you're right. The problem with type replacement is there's 120, 107, whatever other HPVs out there that the vaccine doesn't target. And what I said was they're rarer because they're deadly. So if you use an HPV vaccine and you clear the cervix in the population of the benign, relatively benign types that also do cause cervical cancer in some people, but clearly 97% of women, then you're going to see type replacement of rarer or deadly types. I analyzed the CDC's data on type replacement. Everybody else in the world is finding type replacement. In Germany, in Italy, and you guys can look at this book, the HPV Vaccine on Trial. That has this book I read all the citations you could possibly want. It also includes a very disturbing fact of negative efficacy in older women on HPV vaccines. Negative efficacy means that there was an increased number of infections of women who took the vaccine in these trials. Down, you're up.
Well, I would just say that one of the problems is you're reading, the things that you're reading that are issues coming from the World Health Organization, which gets a ton of funding from the pharmaceutical institution. Let's also remember that they said that vaccine hesitancy is one of the greatest threats to world health this year. So they have a bias and they have an agenda. Do you actually think that they do a study and found that it does hurt some people or a community, African American or Asian? Do you think they're going to tell us when their number one goal is to stop vaccine hesitancy? See, we need independent bodies that aren't taking funding from pharma and aren't stating that the primary objective is to get everybody to vaccinate. It's the problem with CDC, the problem with the FDA, World Health Organization is biased. If I go to Ford car company, they're going to tell me the Ford's the best thing ever made, that it gets 5 stars in all its crashes. I need an independent body to actually do those crash tests in order to challenge Ford, and nobody is doing that. No one's allowing that to vaccines. We don't have anything to worry about.
Hello.
This is final round.
So let's give an independent study.
That's what science, right? Independent study.
Hey, shout out to MDK.
Yeah.
Shout out to MDK. So let's go to the adverse effects of vaccines. Evidence and causality. That is an independent research team. Wow. Wow. The Institute of Medicine of the National Academics of Math and Science. Wow. That's an independent study. They went over 12,000 documents to beat them up. Who they think they messing with, y'all? God killing in the house. Look at the study. Shout out to NBK. That is an independent study. They ain't got no big pharma money, man. They ain't got that. They ain't got the government money, man. They ain't taking money from the government. They're independent people that are dedicated to the scientific study. And so even they don't know about it, oh, we teaching doctors now. They come across for it. We teaching doctors.
All right, roll 10. Oh, you got so minute 55.
Oh, by the way, hey, that's an anti-vaccine guy. He made a whole movie of vaccines, and they ain't got nothing at the end to say, oh, then what should we do? Because the movie's getting how me. And I was saying, well, where is the help at? How you gonna take the help away and don't give us no help back?
Why didn't you figure it out yourself? You're a grown man.
Come on, sis.
Right? When you need help,
Hold on, wait.
So I guess we should go to the doctor then, right?
Look, there could be 1,000
When they pay doctors because they want to give you flu vaccines, that's the big help, right? Big farm, right? So when you get your blood test done, right, doc? When you get your blood test done, those people are funded by Big Pharma, and Big Pharma is one of the biggest contributors and the lobbyists in Congress. So who should we trust? Do you trust your doctor? No! Okay, so how do you know what you have to try to prevent it if you don't go to a doctor? So you have your own doctor then. Okay, so I guess before we leave, we need to get information how to stop measles, how to stop cervical cancer. We need everything. We need it because everybody is against something that is helping. So you need to provide something that could help us without doctors.
You're in your immune system. We're growing the immune system. Let me do my job.
20 seconds left on this side. 20 seconds left on this side.
I just want to remind the audience that when you're reviewing the literature, you never, ever simply go off of one study. You always look for the replication studies, and you also look at the dates in which the study had happened. So if you have a 2008 study, you have to look for more recent studies and replication studies, and look for the critiques of those studies. So anybody who has done any kind of master's program, PhD, you know there's a process called literature review. And so you have to look at both sides. So just want to remind them.
Time, final.
I want to address my friend over here brought up the Institute of Medicine. Here's an Institute of Medicine study that took place in 2011. They are not biased, they are professionals. And look what they said. We hear that vaccines have gone through thousands of studies that prove they're safe. Well, the Institute of Medicine was asked to investigate that, how many studies were done. Look what it says. Committees literature searches, so they search all the science around the world. This is what they do. Literature searches review were intended to identify health outcomes associated with some aspects of the childhood immunization schedule. Allergy, asthma, autoimmune, autism, other neurodevelopmental disorders, learning disorders, tics, behavioral disorders, and intellectual disabilities, seizures, and epilepsy were included as our search terms. We searched all the databases of the world And here's what they found out. No studies have ever been done that compare the differences in health outcomes between the entirely unimmunized population, meaning unvaccinated children, and those that were fully immunized. They never did it. So there's no way that they can say the safe. Furthermore, how many times do you hear that delaying the schedule is approved by the CDC? You shouldn't mess with the schedule. Well, let's look at the study of the schedule itself. The Institute of Medicine says, furthermore, studies designed to examine the long-term effects of the cumulative number of vaccines or other aspects of the immunization schedule have never been conducted. That's the Institute of Medicine my friend brought up. Let me show you another breakdown. This is out of 2011 also. The Institute of Medicine was asked, does the DTaP vaccine cause autism? So they searched, now this is when I travel the country with vax, more people claim DTaP causes autism than any other vaccine that I've run into. Well, the CDC knows that, so they asked the Institute of Medicine. We have so many complaints, hundreds of thousands of parents around the world saying DTaP causes autism. Can it cause autism? What does the science say? They read all the science in the world. This is a little blurry, I don't know how you lift it up down there in the bottom. Here's what they come to the conclusion. The evidence is inadequate to accept or reject a causal relationship between diphtheria, tetanus, or acellular pertussis-containing vaccines, meaning no studies have ever had autistic children in it that got a DTaP vaccine. For 30 years, our Congress has been asking for this study to be done, and no one in the world is doing it. They are avoiding doing the science that the Institute of Medicine. But it gets worse. When you go to the CDC website, and you want to know are vaccines safe or not, just let it go away. Here's what it says at the top of the page. Vaccines do not cause autism. We all went to school, right? You know that S on the end of the word of vaccines means every vaccine has been tested and it does not cause autism. Well, look what they cite as proof that vaccines don't cause autism. It says right there at the bottom in yellow, the 2011 Iowa report. This study over here that only looked at the DTaP vaccine, they came to the conclusion no study has ever proved it doesn't cause autism. And by that, they say every single vaccine doesn't cause autism. That's the greatest fraud lied by the CDC themselves. Thank you very much.
Okay. You hear me? Yeah, okay. Well, now we're going to a vote. If, based on confirming the two sides, if you believe that vaccines are very effective, please applaud. Can you come to the camera? Okay. If you believe that vaccines basically are not effective for preventing disease, please applaud. We are a little bit pressed for time, with the delays and things, so we're going to speed things up. Still to the next two questions, but instead of half an hour, we're going to cut it down to 15 minutes, which should be fine. We're trying to keep everybody on track. Okay, question number 3. Is it possible to raise a healthy child without vaccines? I repeat, is it possible to raise a healthy child without vaccines?
Very, very close possible. You've had, 200 years of evolution without vaccines, and of course you get raised. That's really, I would say that's a loaded question and not really the right question. I think the question is, can you raise, all the kids, and have the kind of health that we want, without vaccines? And so that would be another question. And I think, again, when we go back to the efficacy, what you can see is, reduction in the rate of infections after the introduction of vaccines. So that's sort of the simple answer to that.
Can you raise a healthy child without a vaccine? Is it possible? Well, Homo sapiens sapiens have been raising a healthy child for the last 300,000 years. What kind of silliness is that? That's not the point. The point is, if you had 6 children and 3 of them died, that's the damn point. That's the point. I'm gonna say it again. You used to have a lot of children to
because they was getting picked off by disease. Whether y'all believe it or not. So I got 10 kids, unvaccinated, 5 of them died. During the Middle Ages. During the Middle Ages. I'm not trying to be funny. During the Middle Ages, we read historians, and they say Europeans were absolutely filthy. They had to bury their dead, was outside, trash was piling up. That was a fact. Hold on. That's a fact. Anybody that studies history. We're not playing this game. We're not holding back. Dying in Rome. Disease decimated them. They caught disease from the gold. Matter of fact, we got a whole table full of doctors and they only got one book. We put that over here. Plagues. And the end of antiquity. Talking about the plagues working on everybody. Vaccines do not cause autism, Rachel's autism. Vaccine science. That's a great book. Pox in American history. Pox, hey, this is a great book right here. Right? Look, forgotten people. Okay? NTDs. They ain't talking about the NTDs, y'all. Neglected tropical diseases. Poor diseases. So right now in the African American community, there are diseases there that can be taken care of by vaccines. Why don't they talk about that? Why don't they talk about that? Because they don't want to talk about that. So the point is, man, thank goodness for that cutting edge African science that was thought about Onesimus, okay?
5 or 10 seconds.
Onesimus, okay? Back in 1703, we was in Boston. They was being decimated by smallpox, right? And the slave master asked him, well, why don't you scared of smallpox? He's like, well, we did that in West Africa. We inoculated our people in West Africa. So as the story goes, it's the African genius that brought inoculation to the colony in Boston. Where's my source at? The Boston Globe.
Okay,
100 incremental people, right? It's my
other side.
Is that the time?
Yes.
So y'all anti-African genius? Because you ain't about science, you ain't anti-African genius. Oh, all right. I'm just checking, making sure you're anti-African over there.
I respect your library over there. But he has 1,200 studies plus of reference credible sources. You can, it's a hyperlink, so all of them, I can tell you about that later. Anyway, the question is, can you raise a healthy child without vaccines? Why did they not do a study comparing, a clinical study comparing the vaccinated children to the unvaccinated? What are they afraid of finding out? So, when I speak to parents, and I have my own children, parents whose children are not vaccinated, you hear they're healthier, they're happier, they're really intelligent, they're alert, but the parents aren't surprised by that. The other people are surprised by that. Why? Oh my God, your child is good. No, that's normal, everybody. That is normal. We are born healthy. We are supposed to be born healthy. Okay? We're no longer living in those poor conditions back in before 1902, way back when the plagues and all these diseases were more deadly. We've come past that. Stop being lazy and feed your body the right way. Exercise, take care of yourself, and trust your immune system. Okay? And stop treating the unvaccinated population like the plague when in fact, it's the vaccines causing the plague. And overall health care.
Still a minute 20.
Okay, yeah, so there's this thing also called vaccine shedding, which he was mentioning. The vaccines, it even says on the insert that vaccines can actually cause a disease which you're vaccinated for. So why even get a vaccine if you're going to get the disease that you're vaccinated for? This is ridiculous, right? Serious. This common sense, right? You know, vitamin A for measles. You want to talk about measles? Vitamin A? It's time? Oh, vitamin A. When you get the measles, it depletes your body of vitamin A. So a lot of people, when you hear cases of people dying when blind from the measles, it's because they're vitamin A deficient. If you go to Africa, you see the kids with the big heads and the stomach is called kwashiorkor, and it basically means that your liver is inflamed because you don't have enough protein intake. And if you look up immunosuppression for, it would show that you have, it disables your body's immune system and making you vulnerable to other diseases. Sanitation, people used to poop, like horses used to go around and poop in the streets. We didn't have like sewer systems or clean water or, trash sanitation. We have refrigeration. And when these things were implemented, you look at multiple graphs, it shows that the diseases were going down way before vaccines were introduced into the population.
Okay, and time. So this last round, you're gonna have 4 minutes. This is the final round of this question. This side. Same question. Is it possible to raise a healthy child without vaccines? Begin.
Testing. So the question is it possible to raise a healthy child without vaccines? Let me ask a question. Instead of answer a question with a question, why don't we ask the children in Samoa today? Why don't we ask them? They didn't ask to catch the vaccines. But guess what? You had people like some of these people over here who said, vaccines are dangerous. And what happened? Over almost the entire country is on lockdown right now. Would you like to live in Samoa right now? Since you're so against vaccines. You see, the problem is, measles is a disease. We could be anti-vaccines, but I'm asking my community, don't be anti-government and be anti-science at the same time. If you don't like vaccines and you're against it, if you don't have nothing to offer this community, shut up. You know why? Because you could say I'm against it, I'm against it, I'm against it, but if you don't have something to give the people back, why are you even speaking? You have no solution. So now in Samoa, why don't you go to Samoa right now and tell them, don't take the vaccine, that's killing them? Why don't you tell them that?
2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh, they put him in jail?
Testing.
And vitamin A was curing, was helping the kids recover. They put him in jail.
Okay.
You guys.
A more pertinent question that I would ask, and this is just to the audience or it could be to the other side, is not so much, is it possible to raise a child without vaccines? The question is, can you die from a virus or a bacteria or other pathogen? That's the fundamental question. And secondly, we have to remember that this is about community. So I don't know how many people here are of Native American heritage, but those who are of Native American heritage know for a fact that when the explorers came over here and brought smallpox with them, it decimated a large amount of their community to where they died. And so, especially on the West Coast, where 30% of the population died from smallpox. And so we know that the people who survive will pass on, if anybody's familiar with how evolution works, if they have an immunity to a particular disease, it's the ones who survive who pass on the immunity. But the ones who don't have the immunity are the ones who die. We don't talk about those who die in the process, who don't get a chance to pass on their genes and things of this nature. And so fundamentally, at the core of this conversation is scientific literacy. And for the general population to be more scientifically literate so they can ask more proper questions. It's not an issue of simply can we survive without vaccines. We're here now because obviously that is the truth. The question is, can you die from viruses? And if so, what can you do about it? What is there to do about it? That's the question.
Last 24 seconds.
Here we go, 24 seconds again. What is the alternative for our community if not that African genius that was started in West Africa by a common tribe to deal with inoculation? What is your alternative? Can we just get that? I don't want y'all to leave today without having a healthy alternative. Can't see the offspring. I know you got an alternative.
Time is up. We can hold for after this side's response 4 minutes. Final round on this question.
He can survive being unvaccinated because I wasn't vaccinated. I stand before you as a representation of what happens in your house. However, there is a really good point to be made here. I'm not vaccinated. I never have been, and so but as far as the Native American, my last name is Bigtree, that does hit close to home. Part of the smallpox problem was that the soldiers were handing blankets filled with smallpox and making them carry them into their houses. They were killing them on purpose. So how it can actually have spread had they not been actually poisoned, we don't know. But I want to get, because this really is the hard issue. And you're not totally wrong, in fact. The question is not whether you can, survive being unvaccinated. The question is, how do we live? And, when we were at the National Institute of Health, I rarely talk about this, Bobby Kennedy and I got sent by Donald Trump. We sat across from the head of state, head of the National Institute of Health, Tony Fauci, head of infectious disease, and we said, why won't you do a vaccinated versus unvaccinated comparative study? You have 10 million people in your database here. You could do it overnight, and we would finally know whether or not unvaccinated children are healthier or vaccinated children are healthier. And they said to us, and this is something Paul Ott that I've heard him say several times, we cannot figure out, we won't do it, because we cannot figure out a way to control her lifestyle. Let me explain what that means. What it means is they've already done the study. That's what it means. They've done the study, they did the comparisons, and the unvaccinated were healthier, except that they can't say it's only vaccines because people who don't vaccinate also probably don't go through airport scanners. They don't drink Diet Coke. They're not eating Doritos and, McDonald's, and, their entire lifestyle is different. And that's very important. Because I would say this, if you're going to eat crappy food and drink crappy drinks made by the manufacturers and destroy your immune system, maybe vaccines is the better way to go. I've never told anyone. I've never told anyone not to vaccinate. What I've said is I represent the way that I raise my family. We are very clear on how we eat. We drink only pure water. I don't let fluoride in my family. I don't care what the studies say. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I try to eat as healthy as I possibly can. Now, here's the point. I think it'd be really great in this country for every community, including your own. First of all, how are your living conditions? How is the water? How is the sewage in your neighborhoods? How is the garbage pickup? But beyond that, when your doctor's taking all the time to sit down and tell you how dangerous it is to not vaccinate, and all the dangers that can come, and the dangers of viruses, yes, you can die from a virus. Yes, you can die from a vaccine. You can die from drinking too much water. I mean, everything, whatever, amounts we want to talk about is there. But what if our doctors actually took the time, instead of telling us what will happen if we don't vaccinate, actually said, let's look at how you're feeding your kids. Let's look at your diet. Let's discuss the amount of vitamins that are coming in, because in Samoa, it's malnutrition is what they're actually dying from. They're dying from a lack of vitamin A, vitamin C. They only eat potatoes and salt and lots of meat. And the World Health Organization said 5 years ago, this country's in real danger of all sorts of problems because they're so malnourished. And that's why we're seeing the greatest death rate in measles in world history. They're at 1 in 67 dying. Well, before the vaccine came to America, we were at 1 in 10,000. They're dying at 100 times the rate. This is not a discussion about measles. This is a discussion about their diet and all the scientists that are moving in and injecting them with measles vaccines while they have the measles and giving them acetaminophen. And they're giving them, antibiotics while they have a viral disease. I mean, this may be the greatest story of medical malpractice in world history.
Next question.
No, we're going to do the vote, and then we'll go to the last question, and we'll wrap up for now. So the basic question was, is it possible to help each child without vaccine? So the question I put to the audience is, do you believe that it's not possible to raise healthy children without vaccines? So those who believe you cannot raise a healthy child without vaccines, applaud, please. You believe you cannot raise. Okay, so if you believe that it is possible to raise a healthy child without vaccines, please applaud. Okay, can you do better? Okay. Last question, then we'll wrap up. We'll have a break, and I'll tell you what's coming up next. Final question. Should parents have the right to make informed and voluntary decisions about vaccines, or should the government be left, should it be left to the government officials to make that decision? Okay, so I guess it's this, yeah.
Decided. 2 rounds, first round, 3 minutes.
Testing. This is one of those loaded questions. Again, it's of course, we should have a choice in this matter. But I think it's a little broader than that and more specific. And so it's not that you should just have a choice. You should also create the institutes in which the people can learn to make an informed choice. So it doesn't matter if you have a choice or not. If you're not familiar with how vaccines are even made, the details of how chemistry works in your body and stuff to this nature, you couldn't make an informed decision regardless. So if that is the question, also put the funding together to create institutes to raise people to have a scientific mind so they know how to, when they're reading the data, to make the informed decision. So that by itself, again, is a loaded question, really doesn't mean anything. But since it's the question of the day, that's how thank you.
It's 1 minute and 42 seconds left.
The Ankh tribe in West Africa made informed choices to inoculate the babies. Anti-vaccine movement is really anti-African movement. It's actually anti-American movement. They told me during my time. So in West Africa, they were very communal. And they didn't just think about themselves. African people think about the community on the whole, not just themselves. Anti-vaccine movement is strictly thinking about themselves. Why am I going to do it? In Africa, they made informed decisions. It's better for 1 in 40 to die than 1 in 7 to die. That's a hard decision to make. I'm gonna say this again. Better for the majority of the community to survive than over half of the community to get decimated. And so yes, we're gonna make informed choices. But I'm gonna say this, some people don't need to make a daggone choice. They slap crazy. You can't let everybody make all the choices. Are y'all serious? If we let everybody make choices, we can go into all types of directions and be out of bounds. Everybody aren't mentally sound to help make informed decisions. So you need to be informed and educated, understand what the conversation is. Obviously they don't, because they always ask you quick questions.
The last 10 seconds.
Trickery and foolery is what I'm trying to call it. It's vaccines, a well-organized lie. The piece of disorganized food every time. Man, y'all already know me. Now they worry about us making informed choices. Since when you still about us making informed choices? Y'all running with that. That's what you're running with that.
Other side.
Hey, I have a question. You guys trust the government? You guys trust the government? So why would you trust them when it comes to vaccines, right? Why would you trust them to make the decisions when it comes to your children and vaccines? If you already don't have trust for the government, other things that we've done.
Right, the choice. So I'll answer the African genius out of due respect. Right? You're right. I go scientist to scientist. It's a habit. So I believe the genius of the African American community will emerge and has emerged, but will emerge even more if we get the aerosol out of the flu vaccines, we get aluminum out of the other ones. They don't belong. They don't belong there. And now everybody that writes about this from now on is going to say, I just made a racist comment. Okay? But I didn't. What I said was, I believe that all American citizens on the schedule are suppressed intellectually in one way or the other. Now, the studies that haven't been done are aluminum, mercury, brought up lead. Lead is a right? Aluminum, mercury, and its synergistic toxicity of fluoride and the effects on intelligence. That has an effect. Let's look for science. Let's do a study. But you know, IPAC, the institute that I founded, we're doing the vaccine study. We're doing it, and so I can't tell you the data about it, but I agree with the need for literature review. I read 2,000 studies on it. I massive literature review. I rely on it. Let's pop that up. So the question again, could you repeat the question?
Should parents have the right to make informed and voluntary decisions about vaccines, or should that decision be left to government officials?
So I'm going to let the crowd answer that. And the way we let it go, who knows what thimerosal is? Make some noise. Who knows what a prospective randomized clinical trial is? Make some noise. Who knows what aluminum hydroxide is? Make some noise. They didn't learn that from their doctor. They didn't. Their own doctors don't know what's in their vaccine. So parents must, and the final thing that I'll say on it is the law that parents have the right to choose to enroll their child in a post-market surveillance study or not. It's in the Code of Federal Regulations to say no thank you to being vaccinated because it's a human subjects long-term research study using passive surveillance systems. It's in the law, they're exercising their right, no one should take it away. Even New York State citizens have that right. You have the right to say no because you don't want to be part of an experiment. Thank you.
Okay, other side. This is the final round, 4 minutes.
I'm going to ask this question to my audience members who are of relatively recent European descent. Have y'all ever heard of drapetomania? Drapetomania. I specifically asked Sir John, so y'all don't know these things. This was a so-called scientific diagnosis for slaves who wanted to be free. For African, this was a diagnosis of African Americans during the time of slavery. This was a scientific journal and things. You'll see how it applies in a minute. So, what I want to interject into this conversation is that for us, there's another layer to this conversation that is not a part of the general conversation. And this is the issue of race and history for us, African Americans. When she says something like anti-government or we anti-government, we don't have those conversations. Our conversations has to deal with race because regardless, the pharmaceutical companies, the government are all run by what we call quote unquote white people. So, so when it comes to us, it's not an issue of big government, big pharma. We're looking at the culture of people for which big pharma and big government came in the first place. Our lens is different. And so because of slavery, Jim Crow, racism, things of this nature, we don't have a whole bunch of doctors who are research scientists in immunology and things of this nature, who we can trust to give us particular information because of this history here in the United States. And so when it comes to evaluating this type of information here, for the people who belong in my community, this is why I say you have to be scientifically literate, because it's not an issue simply of big pharma and government and things of this nature. Our communities there's a lot of people in our community who are anti-vaxxers, but getting their input, who will also be anti-white people, but still latch on to the information from, I know it's confusing for us too. So this is why for us it has to be an issue fundamentally of understanding science and how science works and how to critique how to critique the information being said and not be swayed by these buzzwords that have nothing to do, you know what I'm saying, with us in general. And so I encourage those of us in our communities, this is one of the reasons why we're here, is to promote science. So more of us can get into this conversation who can actually do the experiments and bring the information back to us, you know what I'm saying, for who we trust. And so there's no way that you can come to a conclusion in a debate form like this. This is not how science is handled. We would have had papers done, you know, and the science demonstration beats conversation. So this whole idea of voting, you know, if you didn't even sound before, you know, if half the audience is 10 seconds, or the other half is, you know, saying not anti-vax, this is not how you handle it. And so there's a scientific way in which you handle this conversation. And unless you know how to handle it, you can easily sway into doing something by voting in the audience.
The last response. You have the opportunity to sway the people yourself. This is what a debate does. So you just gave us the argument by saying the same institutions that you say don't trust are the same institutions that are trying to mandate us to. So you don't know what you're trying to, I mean, you're just like you're double speaking or.
Okay. Obviously, I think this issue transcends all race, religion, and creed. I believe this is a very issue that brings us together as brothers and sisters on this planet. Because it is the first time in my life, when my mother was Native American, one of the reasons I'm here is she was tested on by the local doctor to try every new drug thing because they would get cheaper health care that way because there were 4 Indians, and my mother was a Russian, my grandmother was a Russian immigrant. So they were used for that situation, as many other cultures have been. But I grew up looking pretty white, definitely, and I had those privileges. But now I've had to leave California because they are taking children away from parents who do not vaccinate. When you go to hospitals to call in Child Protective Services, and all they did was break their arm. And so for the first time ever, I found myself in a situation I only read about happening to other cultures, where I am now a refugee from the state, the United States of America, having run to Texas, where I still have the right to decide what's injected into my children and injected into myself. We're all here discussing how we raise our kids and how we want to live. This is a free country. I've said before, I've never told anyone not to vaccinate. You should do a lot of research on all ends of this before you make a decision. You have to make your own informed decision. But this is a much bigger issue, and everybody should be in agreement on this. We are talking about our rights taken away in New York. Tomorrow in New Jersey, they're going to take away people's rights with education. They're getting kids. They're saying that they're dirty and that they're dangerous to their faces on primetime talk shows. You know, we are looking at something that only happened during the civil rights, during Nazi Germany. We're all being spoken about as though our children are somehow dangerous. And I want to ask this question. How many people in the room think that Donald Trump is one of the scariest human beings you've ever seen? Just raise your hand and cheer for a second. Yeah, right? All right. How many people in the room think Hillary Clinton is one of the most dangerous, terrifying human beings ever? Okay. I think we're all in agreement that we now live in a time where some really bad actor, via or moron, however you want to talk about them, is capable of being elected. There's a reason why we do not hand our bodies over to elected officials. It is possible to re-elect a Hitler. That is possible. We all know that's the case based on how these elections are now going. So to be perfectly, how many? Okay, 1 minute. Here's the truth. The President of the United States puts into office the head of the FDA. You don't vote for it, none of us do. The head of the FDA, the head of the CDC, the head of the EPA, the head of the NIH. The president, if they don't like a certain culture or a certain lifestyle, have the power to mandate a vaccine program upon us. That is dangerous. We know that there's been vaccines that sterilize, women in Africa and in other places. It's possible to do it. Are they going to do it? Who knows? But why would you ever, as an intelligent society that still is free, make the to hand power of your body, your fertility, your life to your government.
Thank you.
There's not There's just the idea of choice. That it's your choice what happens to your body. Your choice what happens to your children. If we lose that choice, then no matter how corrupted our founding fathers were or how long it took us to find equality, none of it matters because the dream is over. There is no future once your body is not your own. We are not wrong anymore. We are not over. We are not proud. We are not dope. We are free citizens in a free country with our own religious beliefs, our own medical decisions, and our own lives. God bless all of us.
Okay, we're not pick up on this segment, but so we got to take it to a vote. So for those, based on what we've heard for this final round, if you believe that parents should not have the right to vote, not to make informed decisions on medical decisions, you feel parents should not have that right, then that right should be in the hands of an official. Please applaud. And conversely, if you believe that parents should have the right to make informed decisions about vaccines,
All right, how y'all enjoying yourself so far? All right, let me give y'all a real quick bonus. This is a real quick bonus, y'all. I would like to introduce to you, Brother Divine Prospect. Come on hand, y'all. See, look at this. See that? Look at them, emotional. Look at that. They're emotional already. I ain't saying word yet. There we go. Let's go get some work. I know a lot of people talking and giving our perspective and everything, so let's get into a couple of studies, right? I'm gonna do this real quick because I know everybody want to break, everybody hungry, everybody want to eat, right? A couple of things that they propose. The first thing they say is, do you trust your doctors to take your blood? Are they aware that there's independent labs that do blood work? Just had it done about 3 weeks ago. Had nothing to do with the pharmaceutical companies or anything like that. It exists. You can go and check it for yourselves. That's number one. Number two, the question was, is there any viable option or alternative to vaccinations? The one thing that I said when I was talking to my brother Garfield and my brother Ankh, sitting down one-on-one, I said there could be alternatives to adjuvants other than the aluminum salts and the thermosol that is there in vaccinations. Let me give you some. Are you ready? Hold on. Are you there? Y'all not even paying attention. You see this? Emotional. Look at them. Look at that. I'm pseudo, but I'm about to pull up the reports. And I'm pseudo. All right. So, hello. There's a couple of studies. Are you looking over here? Look at them. Look at them. Look, talking all this. You're not paying attention. You don't want this work. Hey, it's for you. Hurry up. Pay attention. It's people's time. Are you aware that red marine algae has been used as an anti-HPV? Are you aware of that? You see the capsid? Hold on, because there's two different types of viruses. There's the ones that are enveloped and the ones that's unenveloped. Are you familiar with that? And it's advocacy against the unenveloped antibody viruses. Are you familiar with that? Yes or no? If not, then you're ready to study, or I can do it after the break. No? All right, let's keep going. Now, are you familiar with SAGE, right? Because people said Berta SAGE is all pseudo and stuff like that. Did you know there was reports to show that it has antibacterial activities and it actually kills bacteria in the air? Yes? No? Don't know about that? I have these sources here. Okay, let's keep going. Are you looking over here? Look at them. Still motion.
I don't think it.
All right, a minute. Hey, reishi mushrooms. Are you looking over here? It's an adjuvant. Has been used as an adjuvant to boost the immune system in cancer patients. Are you paying attention? Would you like me to keep going? Thank you. Wipe his tears. Just try it. Hey, thank you, sister. I appreciate that. All right? I'm going to stop here because he ain't even paying attention. Let's give it up for Divine Prospect. All right, hold on, stop.
Divine suspect. This flaming pseudo had a nerve to tell the African American community that we can take some damn mushrooms, some red algae, and burn some damn sage in front of a whole room full of white people. What the hell is going on, man? Oh, what tangle where we weave when at first we practice to deceive. Damn, mushrooms, red algae, and some damn sage. Boy, I tell you, man. Man, my oh my.
Let's see if you can count on with the brother song.
No, I didn't check. I just want to just take this opportunity to recommend a book for people in the audience. It's called Ankh. And for people who don't know what agnotology is, it's a systematic study of ignorance. And, we know science comes from a Proto-Indo-European root scale, which means to cut, which ultimately leads to divide, and the stern, which leads to the word for knowledge. And so just as, yeah, that's why I said Proto-Indo-European. But anyway, so knowledge is something that is valued. But the study of ignorance is just as important. So how and why are people ignorant of certain things? Do people and institutions purposely keep information away? But is it also possible that certain times and certain other instances that people are just lazy and don't want to learn and study on their own? We gotta keep these things in balance. And so, I'm just coming here as a science advocate.
5 or 6 seconds.
As I say, the mind is a terrible thing to waste. Teach your children to think critically and think often, and to involve them into the sciences so they can get into this debate with a little bit more information and than what we have here. So
Time.
Well, we've gone down the list, and it seems like the Trump side has won this debate. Doesn't mean this will be the last debate. Hopefully, this will inspire other debates, and hopefully, this sends a message across the country that civil debates on this topic can take place and need to take place. And I would like to thank all the panelists on both sides. I didn't realize that I could let you do one little thing. I just figured about you, but I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Curtis Cross, for anyone who doesn't know, and I'm the author of this book here. Vaccines are dangerous, and there's a bunch of things from doctors and others of mine. How could I possibly be objective as a moderator? Do people think that I've been pretty objective today? Has it been a pretty fair debate, would you say? No? It's been a fair debate. So we're
Yeah, that was a great joint right there, man. I'm very appreciative for that moment I had. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, man. So, hey, like I said, I appreciate how everything going, man. And man, and to all my haters, man, just keep hating. To all my fake rich people, man, just keep being fake, man. Just stay that way, man. Yeah, we see you. We definitely see you, man. Yeah, I see you. Yeah, I see you, boy. Faking. Niggas fake rich. Yeah, I mean, when you rich, you don't never talk about it. You just be that. You don't talk about that. You don't flaunt that shit, man. That's fake rich niggas. Yeah, real rich niggas, they don't say nothing. And big up to everybody that supported, man, the conversation, man. That was very, very important, man. Big up to those who elevated their conversation on the subject matter. That's important, man. You know, you got people out here promoting vegetables and French fries and red algae and mushrooms. Red algae and mushrooms to stop a daggone virus and replace vaccines. Crazy as hell, man. And then we'll tell the community that and swear they're helping them. All vegan diet is going to stop a virus and pathogen. Crazy as hell. Homo sapiens ain't even that. But anyway, man, it was a good conversation, man. You know, I appreciate that, man. We definitely got some pseudos in that daggone chat, man. Really? Boy, we got some pseudos in that chat. Man, boy, I tell you, man. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He did say that, bro. I was there. The nigga, we beat the nigga up on some regular conversation. He was trying to promote green algae and mushrooms. Like, come on, bro. And iron lungs, some wild Chinese thing, iron lungs. Come on, man. Anything but the vaccine. Come on, bro. Come on, man. You got to stop that, bro. Just because you ain't comprehending the whole daggone dynamics of the conversation, man. See, a lot of us can pronounce words real good, and a lot of us can read the letters, but a lot of us can't. I'm gonna say this again, a lot of us can't comprehend. We got some individuals in the chat that can't comprehend a damn thing, bro. They talk that shit. You know what I'm saying? They talk that shit, yo. Yeah, talk that shit. Swear, yo. Swear. Crazy, man. Yeah, I'm tired of seeing you, and let me get you out this chat. I'm tired of seeing you. I'm tired of seeing your braggadocious behavior. I don't feel like seeing it. Too braggadocious for me. Talk too much. Too braggadocious. Yeah, a little bit too much. Yeah, let me put you on it. Yeah, too braggadocious for me. You're braggadocious too much for me. I can't take it. Fake shit. Can't do the fake thing. The fake things is wild, yo. The fake is fake for me. But that was a good conversation, and the conversation actually occurred, right? Before the novel SARS-CoV-2 was officially announced. And in that debate, I said, it's not a matter of if another pathogen will come through. It's a matter of when. And lo and behold, yo, I was ahead of the curve. Because I was up on science and science literacy, yo. And the data said that we was due for another pandemic. Based off an understanding of the MERS. Matter of fact, we got a book. I believe it's called The Greatest Enemy. And in that book, it actually talked about that. And it was in chapter 3, I believe. It was in chapter 3 of that material. Let me see if I got that. So yellow book is called The Greatest Enemy. The greatest enemy has always been those invisible pathogens, man. A lot of people get sick this summer, this winter too. You know, different colds mutating. I know I got the greatest enemy somewhere around here. I'll put it out on the next show, man. But look, man, I just wanted to go ahead and make sure we was good, man. We good family, man. Oh, here you go, right here. It's right here. Right here, yo. Right here. Deadliest enemy. Yep. Mm-hmm. Osterholm, Michael Osterholm, yo. Yep. Infectious disease inspector, yo. Investigator. Yep. And we was reading this book. If y'all go back to the shows, man, we was actually reading this book. It was actually, let me see. It was actually, let me see. Let me see if I can find that. It was actually talking about well, see, I kind of understood that daggone COVID was airborne because he talks about it in his book. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me see. Was it in chapter? I don't think I got that highlighted. But it was just some things that the book actually, you know, help us kind of just be ahead of a lot of people in the damn community, man. I don't know. I'll get to it. I can't find it right now. But look, man, I appreciate everybody that came through, man. And man, it's been a great show, yo. We're gonna hit this thing tomorrow live, man. Open up the panel, get into it, man. I just wanted that, I wanted that significant debate to be documented on the World Wide Web. Man, big up to all the pseudo killers, man, new and old. Big up to everybody that's rocking with us. We banned the haters for a minute. We didn't get back. And they just hate. Right? They need us more than we need them. High altitude bombers. Believe in
bringing misinformation when that information ain't disinformation. That's disinformation. Gotta know the difference in information. Get information with the pseudo killer army hunting pseudo. Cause you gotta train your mind to fight against them pseudo judo. People with the scholarship salute, we give them kudos. But the people with that look of shit, we look and see straight through those like telescope. If you ain't speaking fast, we gotta tell them folks and let them know the truth of. You bringing malinformation to blast, then you the Ku Klux. Like say, don't talk me to death, bro. What the proof of? Good juju chillin', why you wanna go way bad juju up? Shalom boy got the tank in the cut. I'm in Sosa world plotting on the kick though with Kent. Come in Tiffany gave me the pseudo names on the list and said went and got the low. Anthony got him in the scope, Gullah and Gozy make sure DNA ain't a problem for them folks. Cause a pseudo gon' die, they saw us. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey. Pseudo gon' die, they saw us. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey. I'm a pseudo killer, intellectual sunsling, hey.
Yeah, man.